皆さん、こんにちは。ジャパニーズポットです。
おはよう東京。こんばんはニューヨーク。こんにちはロンドン。
Welcome to the All About Japanese series at JapanesePod101.com, where you'll learn all about Japanese in Japan, such as the writing system, grammar and pronunciation, as well as Japanese traditions, culture, and society in a fun and educational format. To get more free Japanese lessons, go to JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. Signing up takes less than 10 seconds, and you'll find more great lessons just like this one.
All About Japanese Lesson 1. Introduction to Japanese and the Top 5 Reasons to Study. Konnichiwa. My name is Peter Galante, and I'll be your friendly neighborhood non-Japanese guide to everything Japanese.
And I'm Naomi, here as the Japanese native to help along the way.
That's right. This lesson is all about your home and native land.
Yes, and yours too, Peter.
Well, kind of. I've been living here for 11 years, so it really has started to feel like home to me. So, we're here to teach you the ins and outs of the wonderful Japanese language.
Yes, Japanese is a really unique language in a lot of ways. From the writing system
To the grammar,
to the slang.
everything. It's truly a beautiful language, with a rich history and intriguing culture to match. Linguistics section. So Naomi-sensei,
はい。
I have some questions for you.
What is it?
Alright, first question. What language family does Japanese belong to?
That's actually a really good question because it's something that linguists have been arguing over for a long time.
Yeah, I think some say it's a language isolate, basically its own language, and some say it belongs to the Altaic language family. So it's something that's really hard to pinpoint the origins of. So if you know somebody who's into linguistics, you can impress them with Altaic language. For most of us, including me, this is probably the first and last time I'll come across this.
Right. But these days, there are around 130 million speakers of Japanese.
That's a huge number.
Right.
Apparently, that puts it in the top 10 lists of languages based on number of native speakers. Japanese also boasts a really unique writing system. Naomi-sensei, can you tell us more about that?
Sure. Basically, there are 3 different alphabets. I guess we can call them that.
Count them 3. But don't let that scare you off. 2 of them are really easy. It's the last one that takes a little bit more, how can we say, dedication.
Yeah. The Chinese characters, right?
Right. The 2 native Japanese alphabets are
Hiragana and katakana.
Japanese has also borrowed thousands of characters from the Chinese language and adopted them as their own.
And each Chinese character has its own meaning.
This is a really fascinating topic, but we'll cover the writing system more in depth in the next lesson.
Okay, now let's talk about pronunciation for a moment.
Ah, yes, pronunciation. I'll tell you right now that Japanese pronunciation is actually not that difficult at first.
At first, right. And Japanese vowels are really simple. Not like English. You have so many different ways to say one vowel, right?
Yeah, with Japanese, there's only one pronunciation. You just say it as you see it. Now, I've heard that the vowels in Japanese are comparable to those found in Spanish or Italian in this sense.
Oh, interesting.
We'll actually have a series for Japanese pronunciation. In those lessons, you'll learn more about Japanese pronunciation. At first, you'll get the hang of it, I think relatively quick. But actually, to get your pronunciation perfected like that of a Japanese person, that's a little bit tricky.
I agree.
About the motherland. Naomi-sensei, we're going to be talking about your motherland.
Oh, yeah.
So how about going over a bit more about Japan itself? Naomi-sensei, Japan and the Japanese language have a long history behind them, right?
Yes. And at the same time, it's one of the most technologically advanced countries in the world.
There's a great mix of traditional culture and cutting-edge technology. Interesting combination. In Japan, that's often talked about. The way they coexist is really interesting.
Yeah. Preserving culture is really important to Japanese people.
Next, let's look at the name of Japan in Japanese.
Okay. Japan is known as Nihon or sometimes Nippon, but Nihon is more commonly used in conversation.
It's written with two Chinese characters meaning sun and origin. That's why it's often referred to as Land of the Rising Sun.
Right. I've heard it's because Japan is located to the east of China and the sun rises in
The East.
Right. As you may probably know, the relationship between Japan and China goes back many years. When Japan officially sent envoys to China, Japan refers to oneself as the land of the rising sun. That's the beginning of the name.
See, that makes perfect sense. Naomi-sensei, who can resist the lure of Japanese? Are you ready?
Okay.
We're going to give you the top 5 reasons why you should study Japanese.
Starting with number 5.
To communicate with Japanese people. Whether it's Japanese friends, family members, people you meet when traveling, it doesn't matter. Japan is one of the top 10 languages in the world based on number of speakers. That's over 130 million people. So, that's a lot of people to converse with.
Okay. Number 4.
Japanese pronunciation is easy. Asterisks at first. Japanese is pronounced just as the way it looks, so you can start speaking right away.
Okay. How about number 3?
Learn more than just the language. Learning Japanese will give you great insight into the world of Japanese culture that you just can't get any other way. By learning how the language works, you'll learn more about how the culture works.
How about number 2?
Japanese is fun. Japan has a lot to offer in the way of pop culture. Fun and interesting movies, music, TV shows, comics, anime, manga, games, you name it. Learning Japanese will give you even greater access to the rich world of Japanese pop culture.
And the number 1 reason you should learn Japanese is
studying Japanese is healthy and it makes you smarter.
healthy and makes you smarter? What does it mean?
Naomi-sensei, it's unbelievable. Recent scientific data actually shows that studying a second language prevents or holds off Alzheimer's disease.
Ah, I've heard about it.
Right? Also, other age-related diseases. At the same time, it increases your memory, which helps you stay sharper and actually increases your attention span. So that's the healthy part.
Okay.
It makes you smarter by increasing your critical thinking skills.
What do you mean?
Well, when you do critical thinking, you approach different problems. So when you study Japanese and you learn to think in a different way, this helps you think of different approaches.
Okay.
And this will actually increase creativity.
Wow, that's a good news.
Right? So makes you healthy, keeps you healthy, and makes you smarter. So a couple number 1 reasons.
That's really amazing.
And that's why you have to study Japanese.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. So are you ready? Get out your pen and notebook.
Grab your iPod,
Fire up your computer.
whatever you use to study.
And get ready for some Japanese lessons straight from the heart of Tokyo, Japan.
From JapanesePod101.com.
Don't forget to visit JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. It only takes 10 seconds, so go to JapanesePod101.com and claim your free lifetime account now.
ジャパニーズポッド101でございます。おはよう東京。こんにちはニューヨーク。こんばんはロンドン。
Welcome to the All About Japanese series at JapanesePod101.com, where you'll learn all about Japanese in Japan, such as the writing system, grammar and pronunciation, as well as Japanese traditions, culture, and society in a fun and educational format. To get more free Japanese lessons, go to JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. Signing up takes less than 10 seconds, and you'll find more great lessons just like this one.
All About Japanese Lesson 2. Learn the Japanese writing system. Hi everyone, welcome back. In this lesson, Naomi-sensei and I are going to explain a little bit more about one of the most unique aspects of Japanese, the writing system.
That's right. There are a lot of things that we are going to cover in the lesson.
Definitely. The Japanese writing system has actually been called the world's most complex. But that's where we come in. We're here to make the trip through it easy and fun. Let's start with the basics. Japanese has 2 native alphabets. The technical term for this is syllabic scripts.
Syllabic scripts.
We'll refer to them as alphabets.
Okay.
So the 2 native Japanese alphabets are
Hiragana and katakana. They each have their own purpose and usage. These scripts or alphabets are referred to collectively as kana.
First, before we go on, let's explain what syllabic means. Japanese doesn't use letters. It uses syllables. These syllables are usually made up of 1 consonant and 1 vowel, but some of them contain only 1 vowel. Now, Japanese has a lot fewer sounds than English. There are only 5 vowels and only 14 basic consonants. So these syllables are all different combinations of these 5 vowels and 14 basic consonants.
Altogether, there are 46 syllables.
If you can make all 46 of these sounds, you can speak Japanese.
Yeah, you can say that. So, hiragana and katakana both have 46 syllables each.
Hiragana is used for grammatical elements, words that don't have Chinese characters, or kanji, or for words where the kanji is too difficult to read. Now, we're going to use kanji and Chinese characters interchangeably. The reason is, the Japanese word for Chinese characters is
Kanji.
So we may use Chinese characters, we may use kanji, same meaning.
Right. Kanji that are hard to read even for native speakers will sometimes have hiragana written over them.
So you'll see the kanji with small kana corresponding to the reading of that kanji above it.
It's called furigana.
It's really useful for when you're first learning kanji, or when you come across kanji with difficult readings. But more about that later.
Okay. The next syllabic script is katakana. Katakana looks a little different from hiragana.
Katakana are boxier.
Boxier, right.
Katakana has sharp changes and sharp angles.
Whereas hiragana is more curvy and flowy.
If you take a look at the lesson notes for this lesson, it'll become very clear what we're talking about. So, what are katakana used for?
Katakana are mainly used for writing out foreign words.
To give you an example, take the words fork, spoon, and knife. These items originally weren't used in Japan, so there was no Japanese name for them. The foreign names were borrowed from English and became part of the Japanese language. Words like these are always written in katakana.
I think the easiest example is your name. Peter is written in katakana too, since your name Peter didn't originate in Japan.
So, while it's not always the case, a very good rule of thumb, if you see a katakana word, it's usually a loan word. It was borrowed from a foreign language.
Sometimes though, katakana is used for emphasis.
I think the same way that italics are used for emphasis in English. Okay, now let's move on to the big gun.
Kanji, Chinese character.
Kanji, the fun part.
As we mentioned, kanji refers to Chinese characters. These characters were borrowed from Chinese language and adapted into Japanese.
As a result, Japanese now has thousands of Chinese characters.
Yeah, some says 50,000 and others say more than 50,000.
But the good news is that a lot of these aren't used anymore. They're old variations that have fallen out of use.
These days, it's said that you need to know around 2,000 characters to be literate in Japanese. The Japanese government actually made a list of these kanji.
The list is called Joyo Kanji. Joyo means everyday use.
Yeah, regularly used.
This is a list of kanji that's taught in schools throughout Japan. These are the must-know kanji.
Yeah, but even if you don't know every single characters on the list, I think you can still read a good deal of Japanese.
Definitely. You can still easily make your way around, even just knowing some. Every little bit helps. In fact, while the government says 2,000, I think with about 1,000, you can really function quite well in Japan.
Yeah.
So let's talk more about these kanji. Most kanji have two different readings.
One is kunyomi, the Japanese reading. The other is onyomi, the Chinese reading.
Naomi-sensei, how do we know when to use which one?
It mostly depends on whether the kanji is by itself or is part of a compound. That's usually how you can tell. Of course, there are many exceptions.
Lots of exceptions, but a good rule of thumb is if a kanji is by itself, the kunyomi is used. When kanji is part of a compound, meaning more than one kanji character, it's usually the on reading.
Right.
But of course, this is a rule of thumb and not always the case. Let's talk a little bit about the history of kanji, shall we?
Sure.
Now, kanji were originally pictures of people, animals, or other things. If you look at examples of early kanji, they look just like the item they represent. Then, as the years went by, they became more and more stylized. Now, these days, a lot of them don't really resemble their meaning, but there are some that still do. For example, Naomi-sensei, the kanji for kuchi, or mouth, it's basically...
A box shape.
Right, it looks like an open mouth.
Yeah, pictograph, right? The kanji for yama, meaning mountain, is just like shape of mountain.
It looks like a skeleton of a mountain. Not that they have bones, but imagine if a mountain had bones and you took an X-ray. You would see one big support of the mountain. And then on the left side and right side, you see two more supports.
Okay. I see your point.
If you check the lesson notes, I think that image will become very, very clear. So from there, the next step was to start combining these pictures to create more kanji. A lot of the more complex kanji are actually just two or more kanji put together.
Right. Nearly all kanji can be broken down.
And broken down into components. Now, if that piques your interest, you're going to really like kanji. Beyond the scope of this lesson, this is just an introduction lesson, but if these stories are interesting, you're going to do very, very well with kanji. Now, we touched on furigana a bit earlier, but let's go back to that for a moment. Furigana is hiragana placed over the kanji that tells you how it's read. It will save your life when you start learning Japanese.
I totally agree. As long as you know hiragana, you can read any kanji if it has furigana over it. That way, you can learn a lot of new kanji.
And the best part is, this is actually the way Japanese learn kanji.
Oh, yeah. Small kids reading manga.
A lot of manga in their original Japanese format have furigana over the characters.
Right.
So when you're using furigana, you're learning just like a Japanese person. So don't let kanji intimidate you. You have furigana to help you, so it's nothing to be scared of. Once you get the hang of kanji, it gets easier and easier to learn new characters. So, Naomi-sensei, question for you.
Hi.
What if you don't know any of the Japanese writing systems yet? Then what?
That's where Romaji comes in.
Romaji. Literally Roman characters.
Right.
Is Japanese that is written using Roman letters. The same alphabet that's used in English. This is what students with no prior knowledge of Japanese rely on when they first start studying, before they can read kana.
Japanese people have to learn Romaji too in school.
It's pretty important for several reasons, especially the way technology is evolving. For example, to type in Japanese on a keyboard, you need to know Romaji.
I remember learning Romaji when I was a fourth grader.
So, are you ready for a quiz about what you just learned? We're going to give you some quizzes about the Japanese writing system. Are you ready? In Japanese, there are 3 types of characters. What are they? Answer?
Hiragana, katakana, and kanji, Chinese character.
Which of the following alphabets is curvy and flowy? A,
Katakana,
B,
hiragana,
C,
kanji, Chinese character.
The answer is
Of course, hiragana.
B. Okay, now, which of the following is the boxier alphabet? A,
Hiragana,
B,
kanji,
C,
katakana.
The answer is?
C. カタカナ
Remember, katakana is mainly for foreign words.
and kanji are Chinese characters.
And there you have it. The Japanese writing system might sound complicated, but it really isn't that bad. A lot of people really have fun learning it. I know I did. It's extremely rewarding.
Yeah.
So, learn it here with us at JapanesePod101.com.
じゃあまた。
Don't forget to visit JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. It only takes 10 seconds, so go to JapanesePod101.com and claim your free lifetime account now.
はい、ジャパニーズポッド101でございます。
おはよう東京。こんばんはロンドン。こんにちはニューヨーク。
Welcome to the All About Japanese series at JapanesePod101.com, where you'll learn all about Japanese in Japan, such as the writing system, grammar and pronunciation, as well as Japanese traditions, culture, and society in a fun and educational format. To get more free Japanese lessons, go to JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. Signing up takes less than 10 seconds, and you'll find more great lessons just like this one.
All About Japanese Lesson 3. Learn Japanese Grammar. Hi everyone, and welcome to the grammar portion of JapanesePod101.com's All About series.
Oh no, not grammar.
Now, I'm sure some listeners are having the very same reaction about right now. But we're here to tell you there's nothing to worry about. We've made Japanese grammar so simple that you'll wonder what all the fuss was about.
You'll be surprised to learn that in comparison with English or other foreign language, some parts of Japanese grammar are amazingly easy.
Easy, you say? I think it's possible. And we're about to show you.
Okay, so let's get started.
First, what we want to do is take a look at English. If you think for a moment about how English works, you'll be able to see in what ways Japanese is different.
For one thing, English is an SVO language. Peter, what does SVO stand for?
There you go, you're starting with the acronyms. SVO stands for Subject, Verb, Object. Basically, that means that in an English sentence, the subject always comes first, followed by the verb, and then the object, if there is one. That's how English sentences are put together.
Can we have an example?
Sure. I eat fruit. That's the English sentence. I is the subject, or the one doing the action. Eat is the verb, or the action taking place. And lastly, fruit is the object that receives the action.
So, SVO. Subject, verb, and object. And that's where Japanese is a little different.
Right. Japanese is what's called an SOV language.
Subject, object, and verb.
So, the position of the object and verb are reversed in Japanese. Compare it to English. The important thing to notice here is that the verb comes at the end.
So, if we were to say the previous sentence using Japanese SOV order, it would be
I, fruit, eat.
It sounds a bit strange, right?
It sounds a bit strange, but once you get used to it, it's not bad at all. In fact, as we mentioned earlier, there are a lot of areas of Japanese that are much simpler than their English counterparts, right?
Right. Now we'll go through and show you what some of them are.
What we've decided to do is compare Japanese examples to English grammar examples so that you can really see the differences. The next one we'll talk about is tense.
Well, first, what is tense?
Good question. Tense refers to time, past, present, and future. 3 main tenses.
But in Japanese, there are only 2 tenses.
Past and non-past.
It's called non-past because Japanese uses the same tense for present and future. There is no distinction.
So, as long as you have words that specify time, you can easily tell when the action is going to take place. Let's hear some examples. How about a simple sentence?
Okay. 私はスーパーに行きます。
I go to the supermarket.
行きます
is the verb, and it means to go. So, Naomi-sensei, That sentence is in the present tense.
Right.
How do we change it to the future? I will go to the supermarket.
It would be the exact same sentence. 私はスーパーに行きます。
To make it even clearer that it's in the future though, you can add a word that tells us when you will go to the supermarket, like
明日、
tomorrow or
来週。
next week. Now, if you have a word that indicates the future in there, then there's no doubt that this action will take place in the future.
That's right.
But the whole point is that there are less tenses than in English. And for those of you native English speakers who are listening to this, you don't realize how difficult English is. For those of you who have studied English and are listening to this, congratulations. Okay, let's move on to another advantage that Japanese has over English. Naomi-sensei, that is?
Conjugation.
Conjugation. Now, in a lot of languages, the verb conjugates, or in plain English, changes its form according to who is doing the action. Now, this is especially true for Romance languages, but we also see it in English. For example, I go versus he goes.
Go becomes goes.
See how the verb changes according to who's doing the action? Now, Naomi-sensei, what about Japanese?
Japanese verb doesn't conjugate according to the subject.
So basically, in Japanese, it doesn't matter who is doing the action. The verb stays the same. Naomi-sensei, can we hear some examples?
Sure.
Now, don't worry about trying to catch every word. Just listen for the verb at the end. It's the same one we mentioned before.
行きます。to go.
Sample sentence.
私はスーパーに行きます。
I go to the supermarket.
ピーターはスーパーに行きます。
Peter goes to the supermarket. The translation changed. I go to the supermarket. Peter goes to the supermarket. But the Japanese, you heard the exact same
行きます。
in both sentences, right?
The verb didn't change.
And that makes grammar a lot easier for sure.
Yes, indeed.
All right, on to our next advantage Japanese has over English. In the realm of easiness, let's talk about singulars and plurals. For English, we learned that to make plurals, we add s or es at the end. But when you think about it, there are tons of exceptions.
Yeah, like knives, geese, mice, children.
I'm kind of getting the feeling you're remembering your childhood studies and the pain you went through to remember these exceptions to the rule.
そうですね. Right.
Now, in the case of Japanese, it does away with all this completely. Japanese words don't make the distinction between singular and plural. The word for book
本
could refer to one book or two books.
or 3 could be million.
The word for car
車
could refer to one car or 10.
Right.
You'll find that it makes things a lot simpler. If you need to specify, say, multiple books or something like that, of course there are ways to count them. But the distinction is not that important that you need to worry about it. Okay, let's switch gears a little bit, shall we, Naomi-sensei?
Sure.
Let's talk about some areas of Japanese grammar that are really unique. Things that English might not even have.
One of the biggest ones is the use of formal and informal language.
Now, in English, there are certain phrases that you can use to sound more polite. For example, I'd like versus I want.
Oh.
But the thing about Japanese is that when you're speaking formally, you use an entirely different set of grammar. There are informal and formal ways to say everything.
Usually, when you first learn Japanese, you learn to speak using formal language.
It's really interesting how it works though, since English doesn't have any real equivalent. And it gives you good insight into how Japanese culture works too, since you have to speak to certain people in a certain manner.
There's one more thing that we'd like to mention.
We? You mean me? I'm doing all the talking here now, Naomi-sensei. Okay, something you should know about the Japanese language is that it's a really concise language. The key to sounding natural is leaving out anything that is already understood from context.
You don't need to repeat yourself when it comes to the things like the subject.
And again, plain English, the person doing the action. The subject, the thing doing the action, often disappears without a trace once it's been made clear.
On the contrary, if you keep stating the subject every time, it will start to sound unnatural.
So really, all you need to worry about is the important information. Everything else that is already understood doesn't need to be mentioned again. All right. Naomi-sensei, I think that just about covers it for our brief overview of Japanese grammar.
We hope this has prepared you for your journey into the Japanese language. Hopefully, after this, there should be no major surprises.
Keep up with JapanesePod101.com for more lessons that will teach you Japanese the easy and fun way.
See you again.
Don't forget to visit JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. It only takes 10 seconds, so go to JapanesePod101.com and claim your free lifetime account now.
皆さん、こんにちは。ジャパニーズポットです。
おはよう東京。こんばんはニューヨーク。こんにちはロンドン。
Welcome to the All About Japanese series at JapanesePod101.com, where you'll learn all about Japanese in Japan, such as the writing system, grammar and pronunciation, as well as Japanese traditions, culture, and society in a fun and educational format. To get more free Japanese lessons, go to JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. Signing up takes less than 10 seconds, and you'll find more great lessons just like this one.
All About Japanese Lesson 4. Learn Japanese pronunciation. Welcome back to JapanesePod101.com. In this lesson, we'll show you how easy it is to start speaking Japanese.
That's because we be focusing on pronunciation.
Believe it or not, pronunciation is one of the easiest aspects of the Japanese language. We'll show you just how easy it is and give you tips on how to perfect your pronunciation.
In this lesson, first we'll talk about the sound, and then we'll talk about the stress.
Okay, first we want to take a look at how Japanese sounds work. Japanese doesn't have that many sounds compared to other languages, right?
Right. It has only 14 consonants and 5 vowels.
So Japanese syllables are a combination of a consonant and a vowel. The only exceptions are
5 vowels and sound.
which can stand alone.
Right.
I think a very good example is there's a consonant K, and we can combine it with one of the vowels. Can you just go through the 5 vowels quick?
A, I, U, E, O.
So by taking the consonant and combining it with these 5 vowels, we get 5 syllables. They are?
Ka, ki, ku, ke, ko.
So if you picture a big chart, on the top you have the vowels, on the left side you have the consonants. By combining these, that's how you're going to get the Japanese syllables. Most of them.
Yeah, most of them.
That's the key point. Okay, let's hear a Japanese word.
Okay. Ko, ko, ro.
Kokoro means heart. This word has 3 syllables, all of which have 1 consonant and 1 vowel.
Right.
The first syllable
Ko,
has the consonant K and the vowel
o.
The second syllable,
Ko,
same, K and O. Third one,
ro.
consonant
R,
and
O.
So this is just a teaching tactic. The Japanese don't use this tactic to learn Japanese.
Right.
The rows are kind of set up. But again, what we're talking about here is not the alphabet, but rather phonetics, which is very different. So this is an approach to learning Japanese phonetics, or pronunciation of Japanese words and syllables. Let's try another word.
Genki.
Genki means energetic. This one has a consonant-vowel combination, followed by a standalone consonant, and then another combination syllable.
Right.
In plain English, the first syllable
Ge.
has a G and an E, like a G consonant and an A vowel,
The next sound is
which is one of the exceptions. Standalone. Finally, we have
ki.
combination of the K sound, the consonant K, followed by
I.
to get.
Ki.
So altogether we have.
Genki.
And let's do one last example.
Aka.
Aka means red. This word has a standalone vowel, followed by a combination syllable. So those are just some examples of the consonant and vowel combinations you find in Japanese words. The first sound,
A.
is a standalone vowel.
The next sound, ka,
It uses the a, but we also use the k sound to get.
ka,
So,
aka. And please also notice that each syllable has the same length. Like ko, ro, ge, ki, aka. Now let's move on to the next topic, stress.
and not the kind of stuff you feel at work. We're talking about stress as part of pronunciation.
English language uses stress a lot, right?
Yes, English has a lot of stress in it. Try saying the word Japan aloud. Ja-pan. Notice how the pan part of the word stands out? That's because this syllable is stressed. Try saying the word England. England. Can you hear where the stress is? It's on the first syllable, ing. Now, if you're a native English speaker, you probably aren't even aware of this. It just comes out naturally. So how about stress in Japanese, Naomi-sensei?
Japanese doesn't have stress.
There's no stress on the syllables, and as Naomi-sensei mentioned before, each syllable is held for the same length of time and given equal stress. Stressing syllables like we do in English when speaking Japanese will sound unnatural, so be careful.
Okay, let's compare the pronunciation of a word that is used in both English and Japanese.
This should be fun. Okay, first the English pronunciation. Teriyaki. See how we stress the ya syllable?
Ah,
Now can we hear the original Japanese pronunciation?
teriyaki.
Each syllable gets the same amount of stress. Keep it even.
To get good at this, practice copying native speakers.
That's right. And this is one of the reasons we use a breakdown approach inside our lessons. By breaking down the word by syllable, this will help you hear each syllable and pay attention that each syllable has the same length. So our tactic for learning fast is we give you the word, natural native speed, we give you the English, then we break it down by syllable so you can catch everything, and then we give it to you one more time, natural native speed. This really helps you learn fast, catch the words, and put them into your memory.
See you again.
Don't forget to visit JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. It only takes 10 seconds, so go to JapanesePod101.com and claim your free lifetime account now.
皆さん、こんにちは。ジャパニーズポットです。
おはよう東京。こんばんはニューヨーク。こんにちはロンドン。
Welcome to the All About Japanese series at JapanesePod101.com, where you'll learn all about Japanese in Japan, such as the writing system, grammar and pronunciation, as well as Japanese traditions, culture, and society in a fun and educational format. To get more free Japanese lessons, go to JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. Signing up takes less than 10 seconds, and you'll find more great lessons just like this one.
All About Japanese Lesson 5. Top 5 must-know Japanese phrases. Welcome back to JapanesePod101.com, the place to learn and love Japanese. In this lesson, we're taking years of experience in Japan and boiling it down to a few essential phrases that are a great place to start in Japanese.
In this lesson, we'll introduce you to 5 phrases that will help you every day.
Yes, words and phrases you'll be really glad you learned. We'll teach you not only the phrases, but more importantly, when and where to use them.
Let's listen to the first phrase.
I'm sorry, excuse me, or thank you.
すみません。すみません。すみません。
すみません。すみません。すみません。
It's a good phrase to use. Say if you are trying to make your way through a crowd or something.
If you ever visit Tokyo, or in English, Tokyo, you should keep this word in the forefront of your brain because you might need it when you're trying to navigate your way through all of the people.
You can use it to get someone's attention.
like to call a waiter over at a restaurant, get attention of a shop clerk, get the attention of a passerby you want to ask a question to. And what's really nice about it is it kind of acts as a double for the phrase thank you in some situations.
Oh yeah, that's true.
If someone does something for you or gets you something, you can say,
すみません.
and in this case, it will mean thank you. It's kind of like you're partly apologizing for the trouble they went through to help you.
Right. I think that's a very good way to explain it.
When you use it to say thank you, it's almost like a mix between thanking and apologizing. It's quite a humble phrase.
The correct pronunciation is すみません, but you might hear some people pronounce it like すいません. Some people leave out the M sound.
Yeah, you hear this quite a lot.
すいません. It's quite common in spoken Japanese now, but the correct way to say it is すみません. So we recommend that.
Can we hear it again?
すみません.
So this expression has 3 uses. 1, to apologize if you accidentally bump into someone or you make a mistake. 2, to get someone's attention, such as a waiter or a person you want to ask a question to. And 3, thank you. So this is an absolutely phenomenal, versatile phrase that you should memorize now. Commit it to memory now.
Okay, what's next?
Thanks. Hi.
どうも、どうも、どうも、
どうも、どうも、どうも。
どうも.
This is another amazing phrase. Much like すみません, it's very versatile. I actually call this one the Swiss Army knife of Japanese linguistics because it's the perfect phrase for you to get through your journey. You'll actually hear this word combined with a lot of other phrases, but it's also used on its own a lot. Domo is like a simple and easy way to say thank you or hello.
It's like light-hearted hi or hey in English.
So, for example, if you're being introduced to friends of friends or something like that, you can use
どうも.
as a greeting, meaning hi.
Right. In situations where you are not required to be so formal, どうも is a convenient phrase to use.
It can also be used for thank you, right?
Right.
I hear people using it to shop clerks and other people.
Yeah, I think I often use it to people working at stores. どうも.
So if you remember one phrase, just one, I think this one is the best to remember. Because if you're in Japan and you get something, you're going to want to say thank you a lot.
Right. In that case, you should say どうも.
And if you meet somebody, it's a great way to say hi.
どうも.
So this is a high frequency phrase that you can go a long way with.
Okay, on to the next phrase.
Go ahead. Here you are.
どうぞ、どうぞ、どうぞ、
どうぞ、どうぞ、どうぞ。
So, どうも is thanks or hi, and どうぞ means go ahead.
These words sound almost the same, so be careful.
You can use どうぞ when you're offering something to someone.
For example, if you brought someone an omiyage or a souvenir and you're presenting it to them, you're about to pass it to them, you can say.
どうぞ.
Or if you're sitting at a table and you ask someone to pass the chopsticks or the soy sauce or the wasabi,
They might say どうぞ.
here you are. And then you can use the previous phrase,
どうも.
thank you. So this is a phrase you'll use when you give something and you'll hear when you get something. Please, here you go.
Or like if you open the door for someone, you would say どうぞ.
Implying that please go ahead of you. So I think a good translation for this is go ahead. Anytime you want someone else to go ahead, you can use this word. So someone's handing you the chopsticks, they'll say,
どうぞ.
go ahead, take them. Or if 2 people in an elevator and which one's going to go out first?
どうぞ.
Go ahead, go first.
On to the next phrase.
Please.
お願いします。おねがいします。お願いします。
お願いします。お、ね、が、い、し、ま、す。お願いします。
Okay, this is a big one. You hear this one all the time. The nuance of this phrase varies a little bit depending on the situation, but I think the underlying message is always the same.
Please.
Please.
You can ask for a tangible object by adding お願いします to the item. For example, コーヒーお願いします
Which means, coffee please. It's a pretty easy way to ask for something.
メニューお願いします
Menu please. You'll find that this expression is used a lot to ask for favors or to make requests of other people. And a lot of times it can be translated as thanks in advance.
That's a good translation.
Menu onegaishimasu. Menu, thanks in advance. Now, in English, that sounds forward and a little bit rude, but in Japanese, think of the complete opposite meaning. It's a very humble expression that is super polite, and it's a very, very nice way of asking for something or someone to do something for you. What you need to notice about this phrase is that it's contextual, so the meaning can change depending upon the context. We'll explain more later, but when asking for something or someone to do something for you, it has the meaning of please.
Okay, on to the next expression.
Yes, right.
はい。はい。はい。
はい。は、い。はい。
The shortest phrase of them all.
はい Right.
Now, hi usually means yes or right. In some situations, it means here you go. And while technically this word does mean yes, there is something important to keep in mind. It doesn't always mean yes.
That sounds like it could be confusing.
It is confusing, but I think we have this in every language. Allow us to explain. If you're answering a yes-no question, then hai means yes. Japanese people, however, use the word
はい
a lot just to show that they're listening to and following what you're saying. In that case, it functions as a filler word.
はい I mean yes.
Now, Japanese have a lot of these words, and they're called aizuchi.
Interjection?
Exactly. And what they show is that the listener is listening and keeping up with the conversation. And hai is one of these.
The one thing you have to realize is that just because they are saying はい doesn't mean they are agreeing with everything you're saying.
They're simply acknowledging they're listening.
Right. I think in business situations, this could cause some misunderstandings.
That's right. So please just try and keep this in mind. This idea of aizuchi, like the fact that when one person's speaking, another person is interjecting. It's kind of like in English, yeah. But a lot of times in English, when someone's speaking, it's quite respectful to be silent and just give the stage to the person who's speaking and listen. In Japanese, that attitude is expressed with aizuchi. The fact that they're interjecting is politeness. To stare directly at them, not saying anything, kind of makes them wonder,
Are you following me?
Exactly. So it's something you'll have to get used to as while you're speaking. There could be aizuchi. Hai. Hai.
はいはいはい There is another way to use はい If you use it with rising intonation, はい it turns it into a question, like excuse me? Or I'm sorry?
And this is really helpful. If you don't catch what someone says to you, you can use
はい
to show that you didn't catch what they said.
And then they'll repeat it for you.
And it's easy to use. So remember, this other meaning for hai, you'll be very glad you did.
I think that just about does it.
So we've gone over our top 5 must-know phrases in Japanese. Let's recap them before we go. What did we study?
すみません
Remember, 3 meanings depending on context. Excuse me, I'm sorry, or thank you. Next,
どうも
2 meanings. Casual hi, hello, and thanks. Next,
どうぞ
here you are. Go ahead, and please do something. Please take it. Please go ahead. Next,
お願いします
please, as in please give me something or please do something for me. Next.
はい。
Yes. Right. What?
That would be はい?
Now, knowing these 5 phrases will take you a long, long way.
Right.
So keep those phrases in mind and we'll see you next time.
はい。
Don't forget to visit JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. It only takes 10 seconds, so go to JapanesePod101.com and claim your free lifetime account now.
はい、ジャパニーズポッド101でございます。
おはよう東京。こんばんはロンドン。こんにちはニューヨーク。
Welcome to the All About Japanese series at JapanesePod101.com, where you'll learn all about Japanese in Japan, such as the writing system, grammar and pronunciation, as well as Japanese traditions, culture, and society in a fun and educational format. To get more free Japanese lessons, go to JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. Signing up takes less than 10 seconds, and you'll find more great lessons just like this one.
All About Japan quiz. Think you can answer these 5 questions about Japan? Welcome back to the All About Japan series, the Japanese lessons where you get to learn about the real Japan. In this lesson, I'd like to introduce a new member of the team. In the studio for this lesson, we have...
こんにちは、夏子です。Hi everyone, this is Natsuko. In this lesson, we have something special.
a quiz,
Yes.
which may have some of you thinking, uh-oh. But don't worry, this will be a fun one.
We're not going to test out your Japanese skills or anything like that yet.
Nope. These questions are about Japan itself. Society, geography, pop culture.
Mm-hmm.
So you can test how much you know about Japan.
Yes, because learning Japanese is much more than just learning a language.
Natsuko-san, that's so true. You learn about the people, life, society, and all that good stuff.
Yes, and if you pass, you can go on to the next lesson.
And even if you don't pass, you can go on to the next lesson.
Yes.
So no pressure.
So everyone, are you ready?
All right, let's get started.
Peter, you be the one taking the test.
Me?
Yes.
All right, well, I'll do my best. Ganbarimasu.
Okay, so here's the first question, which is about geography.
How many prefectures does Japan have?
Okay, I know this one. 47.
Yes, correct. Japan has 47 prefectures. So, do you know which one has the most people?
I think another easy one. That would be Tokyo, right?
Correct. Tokyo has the largest population with 12 million people. Now, how about the biggest prefecture in terms of size?
I think there's some pretty big prefectures on Honshu, the main island.
Mm-hmm.
Niigata's pretty big.
Oh, yes, right.
But I'm gonna go with Hokkaido.
That's correct again. The answer is by far Hokkaido, the northernmost prefecture. It's over 5 times as big as the next biggest prefecture, Iwate. So Iwate is the second.
Oops.
But I know Niigata looks pretty big too. And guess where Tokyo ranks on the list for size?
Oh boy, I would have to say number, let's see, Hokkaido, Iwate, Niigata, 4?
It's the third smallest prefecture out of 47. I didn't know this before too.
Can we edit that? So the most populated prefecture is the third smallest in the country.
Yes.
That actually explains quite a bit. The trains are too crowded.
Yes.
Yeah, Natsuko-san, this is actually pretty fun.
Yes. Now let's move on to a pop culture question.
We will give the names of 3 popular characters that originated in Japan. Put them in order of when they were created from oldest to newest. Godzilla, Hello Kitty, and Pikachu.
I have a feeling Godzilla is the oldest, right?
That's right. Godzilla was created in 1954. He's the oldest of the group.
After that, I think Pikachu is a relatively new character. So I'm going to guess Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty is the second oldest.
Correct. Hello Kitty was created in 1974.
So I guess that leaves Pikachu as the youngest of the group.
Yes, Pikachu was created in 1995, so good job.
No, all these characters are quite popular all around the world.
Do people know that they're from Japan?
Godzilla and Pikachu, I think most people know. Hello Kitty,
Yes.
I'm not sure.
So, are there any characters that you like?
From this group, I like Pikachu.
Oh, really?
From characters in general, I kind of like Yu-Gi-Oh!, which is a game that's kind of similar to Pocket Monsters.
There was also manga, right?
Yes, a very good one. And Natsuko-san, how about yourself?
Yes, I like Doraemon.
Doraemon.
Yes. I'm not sure whether it's popular in rest of the world, but in Japan, it's really popular.
I think it's pretty popular in China.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a good news. Okay, let's move on to the next question. This question is about travel.
We will give the names of 3 popular sightseeing places. Please choose the one that is not in Tokyo. A. Tsukiji Fish Market. B. Mount Fuji. C. The Imperial Palace.
Does everybody know the answer?
Let's see.
Okay. Tsukiji Fish Market is located in central Tokyo. The Imperial Palace is in Chiyoda near Tokyo Station. So, the answer must be Mount Fuji, or Fujisan as it's known in Japan.
Yes, you're right. Mount Fuji or Fujisan is not in Tokyo.
But on a clear day, you can see it from Tokyo.
Yes, you can. It can be seen from my nearest station on a clear day. So, do you know where Mount Fuji actually is?
It's between Yamanashi and Shizuoka Prefecture, right?
That's right. It's located 100 kilometers or 60 miles away from Tokyo. Have you ever been to or climbed Mount Fuji?
Yes. Natsuko-san,
Yes.
do you want to hear the top 3 mistakes you shouldn't make when climbing Mount Fuji?
Yes, based on experience?
Unfortunately, based on personal experience.
Please.
Okay, the top 3 mistakes you shouldn't make. Number 1. On the top of Mount Fuji, there is a post office.
Oh, yes.
So if you get to the top, you can actually send a hagaki, a postcard from the top of Mount Fuji.
So, will there be any sign that it's posted from Mount Fuji?
Yeah.
Wow.
But we went to the top without our wallets.
You didn't even bring a wallet?
Not the proudest moment in my life. But yes. Don't do that. Second mistake, don't make. If you go up to see the sunset, bring a flashlight for the trip down. And mistake number 3. It may be better to make a real night of it. Do it the right way. You can actually rent a space to sleep so you can climb to the top, watch the sun set, then sleep for a few hours, and then watch the sun rise.
Wow.
They have these little cabins that you can sleep in.
So, you can stay overnight.
Yeah. And finally, I think the climbing season is only for 2 months of the year, maybe 1 month of the year.
Yes, very short during the summertime season.
So it's only in the summer. Don't plan on climbing Mount Fuji out of season because they won't let you up.
Yes.
Natsuko-san, how about yourself?
Yes, I have an experience too, climbing Mount Fuji. But in my opinion, climbing is not so much fun. I'd prefer looking at Mount Fuji rather than climbing myself.
Interesting take on it. But it may be worth it to do it once.
Yes.
And I thought you were going to say, climbing is a bit of an extreme term from it. It's more like hiking.
Right.
I think I saw people on the trail like 60 or 70.
So everyone can try. Okay, now we move on to the economic question.
Japan's economy ranks what number in the world?
Well, we mentioned this in our All About series lesson 1, didn't we?
Right. Japan's economy is the second largest in the world, right after the United States.
Yeah, I think we should probably try to predict the future a bit, see into the future. So when you're listening to this, China and India may have passed.
At least they're really catching up close.
Yeah, so This is 2009, so several years into the future, that may have changed quite a bit.
Yes, right.
And who knows, maybe Japan's economy passed the US.
Who knows?
But the point is that the economy is tremendous.
Yes.
And one of the things that makes Japanese such an important language.
Okay, now the next one is a true-false question. This time, we're going to debunk a myth about Japan.
This sounds fun.
Yes.
Japan's main staple diet is sushi. Japanese people eat sushi nearly every day. True or false?
Natsuko-san, this one has to be false.
Yes.
Sorry to disappoint.
Quite far from the truth. I think that the first thing a lot of people think about when they think of Japanese food is sushi. So that may be why they think this.
So Natsuko-san, how often do you eat sushi?
Actually, once every few months.
It's interesting. You know, in my experience, sushi appears quite a bit for special occasions.
Yes, it's kind of a special meal.
So you have to understand that there are many types of sushi.
Oh, right.
And the really top-notch stuff is kind of reserved for those special occasions.
Yes.
The conveyor belt sushi, you can eat maybe once a month, grab it for lunch or depending. Sometimes I'll go a week and I'll eat it every day.
Oh, yes.
But it's interesting to hear your answer, Natsuko-san, because when you think of sushi, you think of the good stuff.
Yes, right. I imagine a really expensive posh sushi bar.
Not the convenience store sushi, which you could pick up for like a couple of dollars or a couple hundred yen.
Yes. And by the way, Peter, what's the real main staple food in Japan?
Rice. Sticky rice.
Yes.
Rice is eaten with almost every meal.
And not just regular plain white rice. There are lots of different varieties and ways to prepare it, so it never gets old.
And it even takes on different shapes and forms. Sounded weird, but Natsuko-san is going to explain.
Yes, I understand. Like mochi, which is cooked rice that has been pounded until it makes a sticky rice cake.
And it's used in a lot of Japanese sweets.
Yes.
So when you're in Japan, you might be eating more rice than you realize.
You're right. Maybe you can't even tell it's made of rice. All right, so that's all for our quiz.
We hope that you had fun and that you learned something. You should try asking your friends and family these questions and see how they do.
That sounds like a fun idea. You can teach other people what you've just learned about Japan.
And this is only the beginning of all the interesting things about Japan that you will find out as you learn the language and experience the culture firsthand. See you there.
じゃあ、またね。
Don't forget to visit JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. It only takes 10 seconds, so go to JapanesePod101.com and claim your free lifetime account now.
ジャパニーズポッド101でございます。
おはよう東京。こんばんはニューヨーク。こんにちはロンドン。
Welcome to the All About Japanese series at JapanesePod101.com, where you'll learn all about Japanese in Japan, such as the writing system, grammar and pronunciation, as well as Japanese traditions, culture, and society in a fun and educational format. To get more free Japanese lessons, go to JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. Signing up takes less than 10 seconds, and you'll find more great lessons just like this one.
All about Japanese cuisine. Top 5 dishes you have to try, and top 5 dishes for the really brave. Hi everyone, and welcome back to JapanesePod101.com. This time we'll be talking about Japanese cuisine. The Japanese really love their food. The world of Japanese cuisine is absolutely huge.
It really is. It's hard to summarize Japanese cuisine in just one lesson.
Natsuko-san, I couldn't agree more. Also, I think when most people think of Japanese food, they have an image that they just can't shake.
Sushi?
Yep. A lot of it probably begins and ends with sushi.
Right.
But there is so much more to it. And we're going to cover a lot of them in this lesson.
So maybe you shouldn't listen to this on an empty stomach.
Excellent advice. First, before we get into the food, we want to touch on the phrase you hear when you have a meal with Japanese people.
First, it's customary to say, itadakimasu. before starting a meal. It literally means I will humbly receive, and it's a nice way to show gratitude for the meal.
Natsuko-san, can you just break that down quick?
いただきます.
Itadakimasu. And after the meal, it's customary to say,
ごちそうさま.
which is like saying, thank you for the meal.
ごちそうさま. ごちそうさま. And if you're having a drink, you can say 乾杯 as you touch glasses, which means cheers.
And let's just break down cheers.
乾杯. 乾杯.
And if you want to impress your friends, the Chinese characters for this word, 乾杯, actually mean dry glass.
Yes.
So it's kind of like saying, here it is. Let's make them dry. Let's drink it all. Okay, can we hear them one more time? What do we say before the meal?
いただきます.
And after the meal?
ごちそうさま.
And cheers?
乾杯.
Okay, Natsuko-san, where shall we start?
I've got the list of top 5 foods to try in Japan.
Who chose them?
Well, the staff who works at JapanesePod101.com. So it's not based on official research or anything, but
So basically, these are the foods we think listeners should try.
yes.
Okay, what's the first food on the list, Natsuko-san?
Sushi.
After we went through all the trouble to debunk myths, tell you that there's so much more to sushi, the first thing we start with is?
Sushi.
Now, sushi almost doesn't need an introduction, but we'll explain it anyway because I've heard that there are some misconceptions about sushi. Sushi refers to the combination of vinegared rice and raw fish, or some other topping.
Yes.
It's not the raw fish by itself.
Raw fish by itself is called sashimi.
So it's important to make that distinction. If you visit Japan, there is one place you must go to have amazing sushi.
That's Tsukiji Fish Market, right? It's the largest fish market in the world.
It's surrounded by sushi restaurants where you can try the absolute freshest sushi anywhere. It really doesn't get much better than that. Although, Natsuko-san, I must admit, there's probably quite a few people around the country who would disagree.
Yeah, right. But it's definitely one of the best places.
One of the best. Now, if you're in a local town that's right on the seashore with the boats coming in every day, yes, you probably have better sushi, but you can't go wrong at Tsukiji Fish Market.
Yes. Something else that's really fun is kaiten sushi. It's sometimes called conveyor belt sushi in English.
It's a type of sushi restaurant where the sushi is put on plates that are set on a moving conveyor belt that makes its way around the restaurant. So you can take the sushi that looks good to you as it passes by. And depending on where you go and what you have, it can be cheap.
Yes. So it's cheap and also entertaining.
I like that. Okay, what's the second food on the list? Number 2 of our top 5 foods you have to eat in Japan.
Soba and udon.
2 types of Japanese noodles and the epic battle of which do you like better.
You're right. Soba are thin buckwheat noodles that have kind of a grayish brown color. And udon are thick wheat noodles that are white.
There are many different varieties of soba and udon, and you can get them hot or cold.
Yes.
It really makes for a perfect meal any time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
In the winter, it's hot to warm you up.
Yes.
In the summer, it's cold to cool you down.
Yes. And there are also many toppings to go with it.
Absolutely incredible. Natsuko-san, which do you prefer?
Oh, that's a hard question. I like both, but maybe soba. And you?
When I first came to Japan, it was soba. But now it's udon.
What made you change?
I don't know. Who knows? I guess maybe it'll change back one day. But
Right.
so you must try both. Okay, what's next?
Next is tofu.
Now, we realize that tofu doesn't have the best reputation in the West.
Really?
Really. Which is partly why I made this list.
Mm-hmm.
Japanese cuisine uses tofu in so many different ways that it gives it a lot of flavor. Even if you're not crazy about tofu, you're sure to find a way to prepare it that will change your mind.
For example, there are dishes like agedashi tofu, where the tofu is deep fried and Mabo tofu, where tofu is mixed with ground meat and a spicy sauce.
Now, this is actually from China.
Yeah, right.
But much like many things, the Japanese kind of borrow things and adapts. So their copy is, I would say, has a different taste to it than the Chinese version.
Yes.
Both are amazing. So when you try Japanese food, you owe it to yourself to try a variation of tofu and kind of forget the tofu burger that's kind of geared towards people who are trying to be healthy.
Ah, now I understand. And then, shabu shabu is next on our list.
Yes!
Peter's favorite?
One of them.
This is a dish where thin slices of meat are dipped in boiling water or broth to cook, and then dipped into a flavored sauce and eaten.
So if you've been to a delicatessen, what they do is thinly slice the meat, super thin.
Yes.
Kind of, not paper thin, but a couple slices of paper thin. And then you have boiling water in front of you. You may know it as hot pot if you're familiar with Chinese. And you take the meat, you dip it in the water, and it cooks within about 15 to 30 seconds.
Yes. Instantly.
Instantly cooks it. And you take it out, you put it in the dipping sauce, and you eat it. Absolutely phenomenal.
You can eat it endlessly.
That's why the all-you-can-eat places here work so well with this type of food.
Yes. And last on our list is ramen.
Now, you might be wondering about this one because ramen is originally from China, but ramen is a dish that the Japanese have really made their own.
It's not actually the same with, the original Chinese dish, right? It's a completely different type of food.
Again, I think adapting and making their own is what the Japanese excel at. I've even heard that ramen from Japan has been re-imported back to China.
Really?
Under the name Japanese-style ramen.
Wow, that's funny. Japan has done so much with it. There are a lot of different flavors you can try. The most popular ones are shoyu, miso, shio, and then tonkotsu.
Yeah, and what we're referring to here is the soup base.
Mm-hmm.
So there's shoyu, soy sauce base ramen, miso base ramen, and shio, salt based ramen, and tonkotsu, pork bone based ramen.
But there are really much more different kinds.
These are kind of like the four staples.
Yes. Which one do you like?
I like them all except tonkotsu.
Oh.
The smell is a little too strong for me.
I agree. I prefer shio.
Ah, that's so good.
Yes.
Shio is like a sappari, right?
Right.
Kind of
right.
leaves you a bit refreshed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you go to eat ramen, you're going to hear a sound. Natsuko-san, can you make the sound for us?
Eh?
Kind of hard to do without the noodles.
Yeah.
But the Japanese slurp their noodles.
Yes.
And I think one of the main reasons for this is because the soup is so hot.
Right.
If you don't take in air at the same time you eat it, it's going to burn your mouth. And I think it's especially important with a tonkotsu because you know how pork kind of congeals?
Yes.
So the hotter it is, supposedly the better it tastes.
Right.
And it's important to eat it while it's hot. Otherwise, it'll kind of, anyway. So that's one of the reasons why you'll hear the slurping noises, not just with noodles, but with other things. When Japanese eat and drink, they tend to take in air at the same time as a cooling effect on the liquid.
Interesting analysis. I never, thought it that way. So making noises is not really rude. Well, it depends on the food, but not necessarily rude.
Which is the point. So if you do eat it, try the slurping. 1, to do as the Romans do when in Rome. And 2, so you don't burn your mouth.
Yes.
So, Natsuko-san,
Yes.
other than this list, what food do you recommend to our listeners?
There are so many, but how about yakitori?
Outstanding. Grilled chicken. It's like a mini shish kebab.
Oh, yes.
And picture a shish kebab. Now cut it in half or by a third. And that's yakitori.
Yes. They're really good. And how about you, Peter?
Kare.
Oh, yes.
Japanese curry, which is night and day different than Indian curry.
Again, something borrowed.
And this is absolutely incredible. I think many foreigners come to Japan and wind up absolutely falling in love with this dish. All right. Now on to probably a more fun topic.
What?
Top 5 foods for the brave.
Oh, yes. The foods on this list require some bravery to try.
a lot of bravery to try.
Okay, what's the first one?
Natto. Natto is fermented soybeans that have a really strong pungent smell.
Yes.
Although recently there is natto without the smell, but it's traditionally associated with a strong smell.
Yes.
Think laundry basket. I think in many cases, the smell alone is enough to scare people away.
And it's also really sticky, so hard to eat. You have to mix it up with your chopsticks a lot before eating it. And most people eat it together with rice.
Now, this is probably the most infamous food on the list. When you start talking about Japanese food with Japanese people, they'll surely suggest you try natto.
Yes. There are even many Japanese people who don't like natto. And next is namatamago, which is just a raw egg. This is used in quite a few Japanese dishes.
Yes, sukiyaki is a famous one. It's vegetables and meat cooked together with a sauce.
Yes.
And when you eat sukiyaki, you get a raw egg. And you're supposed to dip pieces of meat into the raw egg before eating it.
There's also tamago kake gohan. That's raw egg mixed with cooked rice and some soy sauce.
And I think the concept of eating raw egg might be really hard for some people to get used to.
I see.
I know in the US, if raw egg dropped on the kitchen counter, we had to clean it for a little while. Like salmonella, salmonella.
I see. Yeah, some people might be surprised when they see these kinds of dishes.
But I can say that it took me a little while to get used to it, but I've been eating raw egg for a long time in Japan, and knock on wood, so far, I've been okay.
So there's Peter's guarantee.
Okay. Now, the next one might top the list for me. It's called shiokara. And simply put, it's Japanese fermented seafood with lots of salt added.
Shiokara literally means salty and spicy. And so yes, it's very salty.
Okay, let's move on. Next we have
Rebasashi.
And this is raw liver. Natsuko-san, have you ever tried this?
Yes, I've tried it several times. This dish can be found at many yakiniku restaurants in Japan. Yakiniku is sometimes known as Korean barbecue.
Now, I want to put a bit of a disclaimer here. We're talking about these because we've tried them all.
Yes.
So I wouldn't take our word for it. What we're doing is introducing you to these, but we recommend that you try everything once. Okay. And the last one on the list is actually not widely eaten, but definitely deserves a spot on our list of food for the brave.
Definitely. The food is kusaya.
Ah.
This is salted dried fish. And the problem is the smell, right? The smell of kusaya is very strong. It's really strong. And the name kusaya is actually related to the word kusai, which means smells bad. Amazing, isn't it?
It's pretty incredible. You know it must be bad when the name actually comes from the word smells bad.
Yes.
I'll be honest, I haven't tried this one yet.
Me neither.
Okay, so there you have it. The top 5 foods for the brave. If you're feeling brave, give some of these a try. Natsuko-san, do you have anything you'd like to add to the foods for the brave list?
Well, some people must be brave to try wasabi.
Ah.
You know, that's pretty unusual experience, right?
And this is an excellent point. It's the green stuff that comes with sushi. It can make your eyes water.
Yes.
It can have some adverse effects because it is pretty strong, but it's very, very good.
Yes.
And what's interesting, most people are eating the kind of factory-produced wasabi, which has an extra kick to it.
Yes.
Whereas freshly grated wasabi is absolutely amazing.
It has a good flavor.
So, Japanese cuisine has a huge variety of food for you to try. You're sure to find something you like. That does it for our lesson on cuisine.
And don't forget the 2 phrases you say before and after a meal.
Itadakimasu and gochishou-sama.
Right.
See you next time.
じゃあまたね。
Don't forget to visit JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. It only takes 10 seconds, so go to JapanesePod101.com and claim your free lifetime account now.
パニーズポッド101でございます。おはよう東京。こんにちはニューヨーク。こんばんはロンドン。
Welcome to the All About Japanese series at JapanesePod101.com, where you'll learn all about Japanese in Japan, such as the writing system, grammar and pronunciation, as well as Japanese traditions, culture, and society in a fun and educational format. To get more free Japanese lessons, go to JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. Signing up takes less than 10 seconds, and you'll find more great lessons just like this one.
All about Japanese society. Top 5 things you need to know about Japanese society. Welcome back to JapanesePod101.com. I'm Peter.
And I'm Natsuko.
In this lesson, we're going to tell you more about life in Japan.
There are so many aspects to Japanese society. It's hard to know where to begin.
Well, since the title of this lesson is Top 5 Things You Need to Know About Japanese Society, we've picked 5 topics. 1. Japan's major cities and city life. 2.
Family life in Japan.
3. Japan's work culture and the industry.
4. Politics.
And 5. General trends.
So we're all set then.
All set to go. So, Natsuko-san, why don't we start with
City life.
All right. Now, I live in the city. Natsuko-san?
Yes, me too. So let's talk about the city that we live in.
The one and only Tokyo, as we say in English, Tokyo.
Tokyo or Tokyo is Japan's capital and is the largest city in Japan. In Japan, there are 47 prefectures, and Tokyo is actually one of them.
There are an estimated 12.8 million people living in the city of Tokyo.
More than 12 million.
That's a pretty big number.
Yes.
And it actually explains why Tokyo is so crowded almost everywhere we go.
Yes. But actually, Tokyo has lots of different districts that each have their own personality. One of them is Shinjuku, which might be the most well-known. I've heard that Shinjuku Station is the busiest station in the world. Something like 2 million people pass through it each day.
It's actually a hub, so I don't know, Natsuko-san, off the top of my head, over 20 railroad lines run through Shinjuku.
Yeah, probably more.
So it all kind of converges on Shinjuku, and it's really something.
Also in Tokyo, you have Ginza, a really high-end area, and Ueno, which is famous with its famous zoo and museums, and Akihabara, known for its discount electronic stores.
Maybe one of the most famous places in the world for electronics.
Yes. So there's something for everyone in Tokyo.
I think it's impossible to get bored in Tokyo. There's just so much going on.
Yes. Then, in contrast to Tokyo, we have Kyoto, or Kyoto, which is famous for its traditional atmosphere.
Kyoto is about 500 kilometers away, which is about 310 miles away from Tokyo.
Yeah, I think so. And it takes about 2 hours and a half by Shinkansen, the bullet train. And many tourists come to Kyoto to visit the temples and shrines.
It's located to the southwest of Tokyo. And especially in the spring and fall, I think it's really crowded.
It is.
In the spring, of course, you have
cherry blossoms.
And in the fall?
The autumn leaves changing colors.
Which is extremely beautiful.
Beautiful. Amazing. I really recommend visiting Kyoto, especially if you'd like to experience the more traditional side of Japan.
Another major city is?
Osaka.
And it's not that far away from Kyoto, right?
It's about 40 kilometers away.
Which is about 25 miles.
Wow, you're really good at numbers. The people in Osaka have a reputation for being really friendly and having a good sense of humor. A lot of Japanese comedians come from Osaka, actually.
I really enjoy the Kansai region. You have not just Kyoto, Osaka, but you also have Kobe.
Yes.
So you have these extremely big cities that are each unique in their own way in such a close area.
Yes. Okay, now let's talk a bit about family life in Japanese society.
There are a few interesting things to note. One is that you won't see as many big families in Japan compared to other countries these days.
Yeah, maybe that's true. Usually a small number of kids and only children are not that uncommon.
So families themselves tend to stay pretty small, but at the same time, you often have multiple generations living together. So inside the house, it can be pretty busy.
True. Although in the larger cities, there is a trend towards nuclear families with only the parents and children.
Also, something that is kind of surprising is how long children live with their parents. Natsuko-san? Well into their adult years, is that correct?
Yes.
And sometimes even until they're married.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite a big difference, I think.
Oh, really?
In the US, there would come a time when most parents would say, okay, you've been here long enough. Time for you to get out and live on your own. I can't really imagine any Japanese parents saying that.
Also, you can say that, living alone in Japan, especially in Tokyo, is very expensive. So young people usually can't afford the cost. So that's one side. And speaking of marriage, more and more people are waiting until they get older to get married. It's a fast-growing trend.
In the past, it was kind of an unwritten rule that you should be married by the time you were 25 for women.
Mm-hmm.
Or else it's too late.
Well, some people still think like that. Not me. However, things are really changing, especially in the big cities.
Why is that?
Well, there are a lot of different factors that contribute to it. People are less willing to settle, and maybe they're getting choosier about their partner.
Picky.
A lot of young women these days value their career, and in some cases, getting married will hinder advancements in their career. So, I think there are a lot of factors.
But it looks like the parents will still encourage their children to marry once they reach a certain age.
You're right. Some parents might even have a matchmaking service help with the search for a partner.
Natsuko-san, I think we should probably put in a disclaimer. Again, a lot of these trends aren't unique to Japan.
Oh, right.
Matchmaking and things like this.
Mm-hmm.
However, what I think the Japanese have that's a little unique is this systematic or kind of group thinking.
Yes, right.
So when we say service, there's actually a company or many companies.
Many companies, yes.
That will help you find this. And so when we touch on these things, it's not that we're saying they're unique, but it's just that they're a common part of Japanese culture.
Yes.
Now, the issue with delayed marriage is a bit problematic, and that's because in Japan, there's currently a falling birth rate.
Yes, this is a huge problem actually. Less and less children are being born each year.
And it's gotten so bad that if the trend continues, Japan's population will start to shrink in a few years.
So the government is trying to reverse this trend for the sake of Japan's future. Although I can't say the result is appearing yet.
Okay, let's shift to Japan's economy and work culture. Everyone knows that Japan has a lot of strong industries, such as
motor vehicles,
electronics,
transportation equipment,
chemicals, and there's really so much more.
Yes.
And in addition to these strong industries, a lot of it comes from the work culture. Natsuko-san, can you tell us about the work culture?
Yes. For one thing, Japanese work culture used to have a pretty rigid hierarchy system.
Right. And while not just limited to work, it's almost magnified in the workplace.
There's a clear distinction between juniors and seniors. You call like senpai and kohai.
Senpai is the senior.
Yes.
Kohai is the junior.
Yes. And subordinates have to address their seniors formally and show respect.
And they don't get paid very well since they're at the bottom of the ladder.
They have to wait until they get older. So I think this may be one of the reasons more and more young people are choosing not to get full-time jobs.
Not to get full-time jobs? Then what do?
Instead, they work multiple part-time jobs. These people are called furita. They prefer this system because they can basically choose their own schedule and take time off when they feel like it.
If you get a full-time job, you might have a job for life. And that's why they prefer this freedom.
Yes, well, that used to be common, the lifelong employment system, meaning that you stay with the same company until you retire. But lately, more and more people are changing jobs mid-career. So I think that system is slowly disappearing.
I think with the current economy, there's really no guarantees.
Right. So let's go into politics for a moment. Peter, we don't have a president in Japan, right? Instead, we have
the prime minister.
Right.
But Japan also has an emperor.
Yes, and that's a good point. Japan does have an emperor, but he doesn't hold any political power. The imperial family is mostly out of tradition.
So it's mostly a symbol.
Exactly.
And the political party system is different from that of the US. And Japanese politics are very, very interesting. The Liberal Democratic Party has dominated Japanese politics for the entire post-World War II period.
Yes, the ruling party, Liberal Democratic Party, is known as Jiyu Minshuto in Japanese. And it has held power for over 50 years.
Natsuko-san, how old do people have to be in Japan to vote, by the way?
20 is the age that people can vote.
So that doesn't change much from other countries.
I think so.
Finally, let's talk about general trends in Japan.
There are some generational trends that I want to talk about. As Peter said before, Japanese society is changing quickly in a lot of ways.
So a lot of people probably aren't doing things the way their grandparents or even parents did before them.
Yes, like the lifelong employment system. The older generations are really loyal to the company they work for.
Extremely loyal. They'll work a lot of overtime, which mostly is unpaid. And this is for the good of the company.
Well, ultimately for yourself, because the company was taking care of your life.
Natsuko-san, arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you very much. That is exactly the mindset that many Japanese people had when they did this lifelong system. And a lot of people continue to have. However, the younger generation doesn't really seem to have this mindset.
Yes, I think attitudes are changing.
These days, it doesn't seem like changing jobs is really a big deal anymore.
No.
If there's something that a young person is not satisfied with, they'll find a new company to work for.
Yeah, you might be able to say that they have more of their own interests in mind.
Going back to the marriage trends that we talked about earlier.
Yes. They're waiting longer and longer to get married and have children, partly because they have their own interests in mind.
And there's some extremely interesting things taking place here because it may be that the older generation sees this as being a bit selfish.
Maybe.
But it's going to be very interesting to watch how this develops because the younger generation is going to be taking over.
Yes. So that was our glimpse into the Japan of today.
We hope you've learned a lot. We certainly covered a lot of information.
Yes.
See you next time.
じゃあまたね。
Don't forget to visit JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. It only takes 10 seconds, so go to JapanesePod101.com and claim your free lifetime account now.
皆さん、こんにちは。ジャパニーズポットです。
おはよう東京。こんばんはニューヨーク。こんにちはロンドン。
Welcome to the All About Japanese series at JapanesePod101.com, where you'll learn all about Japanese in Japan, such as the writing system, grammar and pronunciation, as well as Japanese traditions, culture, and society in a fun and educational format. To get more free Japanese lessons, go to JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. Signing up takes less than 10 seconds, and you'll find more great lessons just like this one.
All about Japanese holidays and tradition. Top 5 important dates in Japan. Hi everyone and welcome back to the All About Japanese series. Natsuko-san, what are we talking about today?
The top 5 most important holidays in Japan.
Japan has a lot of interesting celebrations throughout the year. In this lesson, we're going to talk about 5 holidays that are near and dear to the hearts of Japanese people. However, we're going to go in reverse order though, which means we're going to start with number
5. So coming in at number 5 is Coming of Age Day, which is known as Seijin no Hi in Japanese.
On this day, people who turn 20 during the current school year, which runs from April to March, celebrate their coming of age.
20 is the age where one is considered an adult in Japanese society. At that age, they can legally smoke, drink alcohol, and vote.
And Natsuko-san, what day does that fall on?
Now it's on the second Monday in January, but it used to be on January 15th.
Now, there was a reason that they changed it, right?
Yes, it's called the Happy Monday system.
Now, it was actually part of a decision made by the government to move more holidays to Monday so that people who work on a 5-day work week can have a 3-day weekend.
Yes.
And that's why there are so many Japanese national holidays that fall on Mondays.
Yes, thanks to this system. We have 3 days off. On this day, those who are turning 20 dress up and attend ceremonies that are held at city halls and community centers. Girls usually wear a long-sleeved kimono called furisode, and most guys wear a suit.
Now, wearing a kimono involves a lot of preparation, right?
Yes, especially those long-sleeved kimonos are hard to put on by yourself. So for this day, most girls will go to a beauty salon to get help with their kimono and their hairstyle. It's the busiest day of the year for hairstylists.
It sounds like a lot of people really go all out for it.
Yes, you only turn 20 once in your life. So a lot of people like to get all dressed up.
Okay, what about number 4? What comes in at number 4?
Number 4 is actually a series of holidays known as Golden Week.
4 holidays, right?
Yes.
What are they?
The first one is on April 29th, which is called Showa Day or Showa no Hi.
Now, this celebrates the birth of the former emperor Showa.
The next one is on May 3rd, and it's Constitutional Memorial Day or Kenpo Kinenbi.
This is the day that the new Japanese constitution was put into effect in 1947.
The next one is on May 4th, which is Greenery Day or Midori no Hi.
It's a day that's dedicated to nature. So in that way, it's a little similar to Earth Day.
Yes. And the last one is on May 5th, which is Children's Day or Kodomo no Hi.
On this day, parents pray for a happy and healthy life for their children. I know a lot of kids in other countries wish they had a Children's Day.
Oh, yes. So when combined with the weekend, that's 6 days off. But lots of people would take off the work days that come in between and end up with over a week off.
And with that much time off, a lot of people want to travel.
Yes.
So everybody in Japan kind of goes on vacation at this time.
Yes. All of the tourist destinations in Japan and abroad become really, really crowded during Golden Week. And it becomes expensive to travel too.
So while at first it may seem like a good idea, you really have to make sure that you do everything in advance and that you're ready to brave the crowds and long waits.
Right.
So how about the summer? Natsuko-san, what summer holidays are there?
In summer, we have Obon. It usually takes place from August 13th to 15th, but some areas celebrate it in July due to differences in the solar and lunar calendars.
Obon is a Buddhist event where people pray for the repose of the souls of their ancestors. If you're familiar with the Mexican holiday, Day of the Dead, you'll find that Obon is similar in many ways.
So during this time, Japanese people visit their ancestors' graves and clean them. They believe that the spirits of their ancestors come back to this world to visit their relatives.
You'll see a lot of dancing too.
Oh yes. This is known as Bon Odori.
Natsuko-san, is this the most common culture during Obon?
Maybe, yes.
And the Obon dancing seems to go on everywhere.
Yes. People put on yukata, which is a light cotton kimono worn in the summertime, go to the neighborhood Bon Odori and dance. They dance in a circle around a tall stage and everyone can join in.
And then, when Obon comes to an end, people put floating lanterns into rivers and lakes, and these are meant to guide the spirits back to their world.
Actually, the exact Obon customs vary from region to region. One of the most famous traditions takes place in Kyoto, and it's called Gozan no Okuribi, or Daimonji no Okuribi. Gozan means 5 mountains, and Okuribi means ceremonial bonfire. So this is where fires are lit on 5 mountains.
The fires spell out kanji and Buddhist-related markings. It's really pretty interesting to see. They're very big, and you can see actual Japanese kanji characters from the flames in the mountains.
Yes.
Okay, we're down to number 2. Natsuko-san?
Number 2 is New Year's Eve, known as Omisoka. This day is symbolic in Japan because it's the last day of the year.
Now, at the end of the year, many interesting customs take place, and one of them is a lot of people clean their houses and offices in late December.
That's right. That cleaning is known as osoji, which literally means big cleaning.
It's probably comparable to the concept of spring cleaning.
Oh, you do it in spring?
Yeah, except where it's done at the end of the year here.
Yes. And then on Omisoka, a lot of people like to eat toshikoshi soba, which is a type of noodle.
This tradition comes from the association of long noodles with the wish of living a long, healthy life. So the cleaning, long noodles, these are all customs associated with the end of the year and Omisoka. There's one more, right?
Yes.
There's a famous TV program on New Year's Eve.
Right. While eating toshikoshi soba noodle, a lot of people turn on their TV to watch a popular singing contest. It's called Kouhaku Utagassen.
This singing contest takes place every New Year's Eve. The name of the contest is Kouhaku Utagassen, which roughly translates to Red and White Singing Contest.
This show is the most popular music show of the year, and it's always interesting to see who is invited to participate in the current year's Kouhaku. And of course, being involved in Kouhaku is a great honor for singers.
And there's something about the colors. Natsuko-san, red is
For female singers,
white.
for male singers.
So it's kind of the guys versus the girls.
Yes.
And there is a winner declared.
Yes, there's actually voting.
Natsuko-san, who votes?
The audience at the hall and also the listeners.
So it's kind of like a one-day winner-take-all guys versus girls American Idol.
Yeah, maybe.
So you could see why it's so popular. Kind of to celebrate the year, and a lot of the singers are chosen for doing very well that year.
Yeah, so it's like a culture recap.
All right, Natsuko-san, after New Year's Eve, it's the most celebrated day of the year in Japan.
That's right. Number 1 on our list is New Year's Day, known as Oshogatsu or Gantan.
This day is really big in Japan. A lot of people go back to their hometowns to visit their families for New Year's.
Around New Year's Day, there are a lot of firsts. One of the most common first traditions is called Hatsumode. This is the first shrine or temple visit of the year. So many people visit shrines or temples on or around New Year's Day.
If you try to go on New Year's Day or any time shortly after, it'll probably be really crowded.
Yes, usually.
So just a word of warning. Now, Japanese people eat special cuisine during New Year's, right?
Yes.
What's the name of the cuisine?
Osechi or osechi ryori.
We have a nice write-up on the osechi dish in the lesson.
Yes.
So be sure to check that out. But Natsuko-san, other than the osechi dish, what else?
Rice cakes. We eat mochi, rice cake, during New Year's.
The Japanese staple food is rice. So Japanese people eat a lot of rice.
Yes.
But during the New Year's, people eat mochi rice cakes instead of regular steamed rice.
Right.
Natsuko-san, how do you eat it?
For New Year's, we often put it in a hot soup and eat it. This soup is called ozoni. What's in the soup and soup's flavor varies by the region.
And the texture of mochi? It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, mochi is really soft and chewy and sticky. It's really good. But for some foreigners, it might be a bit challenging.
But definitely something you should try. Okay, let's talk about some New Year's customs.
One custom is where parents and relatives give money to their children. They give money that is called otoshidama, and it's usually put into special little envelopes.
I think a lot of kids look forward to this.
Definitely.
About how much money did they receive?
According to a survey, in 2009, the average amount that elementary school and middle school students received was 30,000 yen.
So in 2009, about $300 US. So with that, we've covered the 5 most important holidays in Japan.
We hope that you have a chance to visit Japan during one of these holidays so that you can experience it for yourself.
Join us next time for more information on Japan and Japanese at JapanesePod101.com.
それじゃあまた。
Don't forget to visit JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. It only takes 10 seconds, so go to JapanesePod101.com and claim your free lifetime account now.
ジャパニーズポッド101でございます。
おはよう東京。こんばんはニューヨーク。こんにちはロンドン。
Welcome to the All About Japanese series at JapanesePod101.com, where you'll learn all about Japanese in Japan, such as the writing system, grammar and pronunciation, as well as Japanese traditions, culture, and society in a fun and educational format. To get more free Japanese lessons, go to JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. Signing up takes less than 10 seconds, and you'll find more great lessons just like this one.
All about Japanese pop culture. Top 5 pop culture things you need to know about Japan. Welcome back to our All About Japanese series.
こんにちは、夏子です。
Today on JapanesePod101.com, we bring you the Japan of today.
That's right. Japanese pop culture.
So this is a little record of Japanese pop culture in 2009. Natsuko-san, let's start with music.
Okay.
Now, Japan has the second largest music industry in the world,
Wow, next to the United States?
next to the US.
Well, I didn't know that. And I bet a lot of people didn't know that.
Before I found out it was the second largest industry, I had a couple hints, but I just didn't realize it.
What do you mean?
Well, I listened to a lot of different music, and in a lot of the hip-hop songs, you would hear them make references to Los Angeles, New York,
Yes.
and Japan.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I never kind of got that, but then it made total sense.
Ah, I see.
They sell a lot of records in Japan.
So we're the second largest customers.
Yes.
なるほど.
Now, pop music is really popular in Japan.
Yes, we have groups like Dreams Come True
Dreams Come True,
and Sazan All-Stars
Southern All-Stars.
that managed to retain their popularity over the years. We also have female solo artists that are popular. To name a few, we have Hamasaki Ayumi,
Ayumi Hamazaki,
Amuro Namie,
Namie Amuro,
and Utada Hikaru.
Hikaru Utada. So what I did was I just reversed the names because in natural native Japanese, it's normal to give the last name first. Natsuko-san, how about on the male side?
Yes, on the male side, a lot of singers and idols come from a talent agency known as Johnny's Entertainment. They produce lots of groups that become very popular. The most popular is a group called SMAP. You will see them everywhere in Japan.
Everywhere meaning billboards, magazines, TV shows.
Yes, and in ads.
They're national idols that everyone knows.
The thing about performers who come out of this agency is that they do a little bit of everything. Singing, dancing, acting. So they're well-rounded performers in that sense.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see them on TV. A lot of times they're asked to do things like quizzes or challenges or different things like cooking, and they excel at a lot of different things.
Yes.
Now, Natsuko-san, who's your favorite pop star?
I haven't been following the trend for a long time, so I think my information is rather outdated, but I used to like Sazan All-Stars very much when I was a student. But they are still popular, and that's amazing.
Yeah, especially in Japan where usually the change of pace is so fast.
Yes.
It's very different from the US where a song will chart for many months. In Japan, it's usually very fast, the churn of new songs and old songs.
And how about you, Peter?
I'm kind of similar to you. I think we have the wrong two people for this particular episode regarding music. But I haven't actively been listening to J-pop for quite some time. When I first came, it was an amazing, amazing study tool.
Really?
I would listen to the many different songs, and I like the band Lunacy.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, so much has changed, and these days I haven't really caught up. I haven't really kept up with J-pop. But luckily, along with music, movies are really popular in Japan.
Yes, lots of people watch and enjoy Hollywood movies, but actually, recently, Japanese movies have been seeing a boom in popularity.
Apparently, the annual box office revenue from domestic movies hit an all-time high in 2008.
Yeah, that year, a movie called Gake no Ue no Ponyo
Ponyo on the Cliff by the Sea
was the highest grossing film.
the latest work by world-renowned animation director Hayao Miyazaki.
Miyazaki Hayao. Almost all of his films become big hits.
Yes, that's almost a guarantee. And this one was no exception. Many of our listeners are probably familiar with his other works. Princess Mononoke and Spirited Away were two of his masterpieces.
Spirited Away. I think the Japanese title was Sen to Chihiro no Kamikakushi, but it won an Academy Award, didn't it?
Yep, the first Japanese animated film to win one.
Speaking of Academy Awards, this year in 2009, the Japanese film Departures, or Okuribito, won the Academy Award for Best Foreign Language Film.
So it looks like the Japanese films are starting to gain more recognition both inside and outside Japan. Although people inside Japan have known for a long time that the Japanese film industry makes many interesting movies.
Yes.
One more interesting thing about the Hollywood movies. Most of the showings here are not dubbed over. They play them in English with Japanese subtitles. It's rather quite interesting too because sometimes when I go with my Japanese friends, I say, do you want to go, would you like to see the dub version? And they always want to see the subtitle version.
We're kind of used to reading the subtitles. And also, it's a good way to learn English.
I think that's the mindset, yeah.
Okay, how about television? I get the impression that television in Japan is quite different from TV shows in the West.
I think you could say that. To give an example, Japan has an endless number of variety shows. I don't even think this genre exists in America.
Oh, really?
I think it gets its name from they do many different types of things, so it's a variety.
Yes, exactly.
And what are some types of things that take place on a variety show?
Like a comedy show? Or try to do something interesting?
Different challenges?
Yes.
And it seems like they have a panel of people, or it's centered around a few people. The show has some hosts, and then the guests on the show compete in different things or do different skits.
Yes. Sometimes they play games. Sometimes they just talk about some topical things.
Variety shows.
Yes.
Very popular and kind of dominated by a few major stars.
Yes, maybe. And quiz shows are also popular.
That's another show you'll see a lot of. I think the Japanese really love quizzes.
They do.
They love quizzes about everything. History, society, science, math, pop culture.
Right. Dramas are another popular genre. Now, of course, there are dramas in the West, but I think the style is really different.
Very different. Japanese dramas are relatively short, for one thing.
They only last for one season, so about 10 to 12 episodes, and then it's done.
It's almost like an extended miniseries back home.
Yes.
Usually dramas in the West run for as long as they are popular. They'll keep coming back season after season.
And there are a handful that have done more than one season in Japan, but they're pretty rare. And nearly all Japanese dramas have a clear-cut beginning and end.
Yeah, I have mixed feelings about this. Sometimes it's nice, it's short and sweet, and they go out on top.
Mm-hmm.
But other times, like, you want more of them. But I think there's a trend in Japan. Again, the churn is very, very fast. Dramas won't last very long. And this is kind of extended throughout, scales across the entertainment industry.
So that's why our information becomes outdated very quickly.
Now, Western dramas are also popular in Japan, right?
Yes. And you can see them on TV or even rent the DVDs. Some popular ones are 24, Prison Break, Lost, and Heroes.
When you watch Japanese TV, you'll probably see a lot of foreigners who are famous in Japan. Now, this is interesting because some of them aren't even known in their home country, just in Japan.
One example is Jero, an African-American enka singer.
His real name is Jerome White Jr., and he's from Pennsylvania in the US. And he's made it big here singing enka, which is traditional Japanese pop music.
Enka is normally popular among older people in Japan, but Jero is really young, still in his 20s.
Yeah, and he's gained a lot of media attention. He was even in the Kohaku, year-ending singing contest that we talked about many times before.
And Korean stars have also become really popular since about 5 years ago. A Korean drama called Fuyu no Sonata,
Winter Sonata,
was aired on Japanese TV, and the two leads, known as Pae Yeonjun and Che Jiu in Japanese, became big stars in Japan.
Ah, yes, the Hallyu or Korean boom. Hallyu is a term coined that refers to the popularity of Korean pop culture in Japan. Now, the fact they came up with a word for it kind of tells you how popular it is.
Yes, they even made up a word. So these days, more and more Korean actors and pop singers are experiencing fame in Japan.
How about the world of sports?
There are many popular foreigners in the world of sports too.
Even in sumo, which is interesting because it's very Japanese, very traditional.
In sumo, there are Koto Ooshu, a sumo wrestler from Bulgaria, and Asa Shoryu. He's a small wrestler from Mongolia, and many Mongolian wrestlers are doing very well.
Very well. So let's take a look at the flip side. How about Japanese men and women who are well known abroad?
Well, in entertainment, we have Watanabe Ken,
Ken Watanabe.
who is an actor. Do you remember what movies he's been in?
He was in The Last Samurai, right? With Tom Cruise?
That's right. He got a lot of Academy Awards nominations for that role. And more recently, he was in Iojima Kara no Tegami,
Or Letters from Iwo Jima.
a film about World War II that was directed by Clint Eastwood.
So a lot of people in the West know him for roles in these movies, but he's been very famous in Japan for quite some time.
Yes, he's a really popular actor. There are famous Japanese people in a lot of different fields. In film, there is filmmaker Kitano Takeshi.
Takeshi Kitano,
In literature, there is contemporary author Murakami Haruki.
Haruki Murakami,
And in the fashion world, there is designer Miyake Issei.
Issei Miyake. Now, if you're unsure about who any of these people are, there's some more information about them in the write-up, so make sure to check that out.
There are also a lot of famous Japanese sports figures too.
A lot of them are baseball players. Baseball is arguably the most popular sport in Japan.
Right. Japan has professional leagues, but there are quite a few Japanese baseball players that participate in the major leagues in America.
The most famous example is probably Ichiro. America went through Ichiro fever at one point, and actually he's still quite popular now.
If you follow baseball, you might know his name.
There are also a few famous names in figure skating too.
Arakawa Shizuka
Shizuka Arakawa.
is one. She got a gold medal in the 2006 Winter Olympics. These days, you hear a lot about Asada Mao.
Mao Asada.
She's currently ranked 3rd in the world.
So that's a little bit about Japanese pop culture as of this date in history.
Please join us next time for more information on Japan and Japanese at JapanesePod101.com.
See you next time.
じゃあまたね。
Don't forget to visit JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. It only takes 10 seconds, so go to JapanesePod101.com and claim your free lifetime account now.
ジャパニーズポッド101でおじゃる。
おはよう東京。こんばんはニューヨーク。こんにちはロンドン。
Welcome to the All About Japanese series at JapanesePod101.com, where you'll learn all about Japanese in Japan, such as the writing system, grammar and pronunciation, as well as Japanese traditions, culture, and society in a fun and educational format. To get more free Japanese lessons, go to JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. Signing up takes less than 10 seconds, and you'll find more great lessons just like this one.
All About Japanese Lesson 11. Top 5 Tools for Learning Japanese. Hi everybody, welcome back to JapanesePod101.com. I'm Peter.
And I'm Jessie.
Jessie, this is your first All About Japanese series lesson.
Yes, that's right. I'm really happy to be here.
It's great to have you here. So Jessie, can we have a quick introduction?
Sure. I've been studying Japanese for about 8 years, and I currently host the lower intermediate series at JapanesePod101.com.
Well, it's great to have you with us. Today, we have a great list of tools to help your Japanese studies.
Yes, we do.
Now, these are tools that when put together are going to do wonders for your Japanese.
And some of them will really save you a lot of time too, which is great.
And what's even better is that they're all free. Free of charge and easily found on the internet.
Yeah, what could be better?
Okay, so let's get started.
And before we get started, we want to tell you that you can find all of the links to the resources we'll be mentioning in the PDF, so make sure to check that out.
Jessie, what's the first one?
The first one is called Rikai-chan.
Now, Rikai-chan is amazing. Imagine being able to read Japanese web pages, blogs, articles, before you can actually read or speak Japanese.
Rikai-chan makes this possible.
Every time you hover your cursor over a word in Japanese, you'll get a pop-up window that has the reading and the translation.
And it's really fast, so it comes up instantly.
You can probably imagine how helpful this is when you're trying to decipher your way through a page filled with Japanese.
There's also another cool feature to it.
Yes, and it's so good that it actually comes next in our list.
So let us explain a little bit. When you use Rikai-chan, by default it will look up entire words.
But if you're wondering about one kanji character in particular, you can look it up in the Rikai-chan Kanji Dictionary. Once you have your cursor over a word, you can press the Shift or Enter key to switch between the word dictionary and the kanji dictionary.
And so this makes it possible to look up just the kanji information.
And it gives you a lot of good information too. The meaning of the kanji, all the readings, the stroke order, the number of strokes, the radicals that make up the kanji, and more.
So this is a really good tool for picking up a lot of new kanji.
You definitely want to get Rikai-chan. By the way, Jessie, what does Rikai-chan mean?
Rikai is a word that means comprehension or understanding. And what they did was they added the name suffix, chan, to it.
Which gives it kind of a cute sound to it.
Right, like a term of affection. The next one is an English-Japanese, Japanese-English dictionary called Eijiro.
Eijiro is a dictionary that was put together by a group of translators, so the database is huge. There are so many specialized words and phrases in there that you'd have a difficult time finding elsewhere. It's really quite amazing. The stuff you can find in there, unreal.
Yeah, I agree. You can find a lot of colloquialisms in there, for example.
Another great thing about it is the amount of sample sentences.
Definitely. There are tons of them in the Eijiro database.
If you want to get a feel for how a word is really used, then you can check out all the sample sentences.
Now, you can either buy Eijiro in CDR format or as a downloadable dictionary file, or you can use it for free at the Space Alk website.
That's right. You can use this awesome dictionary for free.
So definitely give it a try.
Put it in your bookmarks. Probably be using it often.
And next we have
Anki, which is a flashcard program. Anki means?
Memorization.
In Japanese.
Yeah, this one has gotten really popular lately. We hear our listeners talking about it all the time.
That's right. Anki is not just your regular flashcard program. It's based on a method called spaced repetition. Now, this is based on research that tells us when we learn new information, of course, it's important to repeat it over and over. But the intervals at which we repeat the information also makes a big difference.
The intervals that the flashcards come up at are carefully calculated based on this research.
So, you'll learn and retain new information effectively by using Anki.
It's really easy to add words and kanji that you want to study to Anki.
Yes, there are flashcard decks that you can easily download and load into Anki. There are a lot of pre-made ones available. Some of them are grouped by JLPT, Japanese Language Proficiency Test Level. So, if you're studying for the test, this is an excellent tool.
Or what's great is that you can also make your own.
It's really customizable, making this a great tool. Okay, what do we have next?
Lang 8.
Yes, I knew you were going to put this one in here.
I really like this one.
Now, Lang 8 is a really nice service. When you're studying a language, what's really important for improving?
Practice.
That's right, actually using the language. This is what is really going to help you improve.
Definitely, and that's where Lang 8 comes in.
What it is a social network service that is centered around language learning.
Right, the concept is really neat, I think.
It's really interesting. People who are studying a foreign language can sign up and start a journal in the language they're studying. So, for example, let's say I sign up and start keeping a journal in Japanese.
Then other users who are native speakers in that language you are studying can correct your journal entries.
So, for example, Naomi-sensei, Natsuko-san, Sakura-san can correct a journal that I wrote in Japanese.
And then in return, Peter could correct entries that they will try and write in English.
So you have a native speaker looking over what you have written and giving you feedback. So for me, I have a native Japanese speaker looking over my material and giving me feedback. And me as a native English speaker, I can look over foreigners writing in English and give them feedback. And the service is free.
And there are also communities that you can join to talk about language, culture, interests, and more.
What's great is that it works for any level. So even if you're just getting started in Japanese, it would be great practice.
Definitely. And also the feedback you receive is really valuable too. So we recommend signing up, writing something in Japanese, and see what kind of feedback you get.
All right, so we hope you'll take advantage of these great tools and all they have to offer.
We've tried them, and so we know how good they are, and that's why we're passing them on to you.
Remember that the links for all these sites and programs can be found in the accompanying PDF file.
So let us know what you think of them too.
If you have some other resources you'd like to share, you can always stop by JapanesePod101.com and share them with the community.
Okay, and that wraps up this lesson. See you next time. Don't forget to visit JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. It only takes 10 seconds, so go to JapanesePod101.com and claim your free lifetime account now.
ジャパニーズポッド101でござる。おはよう薩摩。こんばんは長州。こんにちは土佐。
Welcome to the All About Japanese series at JapanesePod101.com, where you'll learn all about Japanese in Japan, such as the writing system, grammar and pronunciation, as well as Japanese traditions, culture, and society in a fun and educational format. To get more free Japanese lessons, go to JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. Signing up takes less than 10 seconds, and you'll find more great lessons just like this one.
All About Japanese Lesson 12. Top 5 Japanese Classroom Phrases. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the All About Japanese series.
In this lesson, you'll learn the top 5 phrases you'll hear in a classroom.
These are phrases that a teacher would use often. You'll get a head start by already knowing these phrases. So, without further ado, let's listen to the first phrase.
Please say it, or please repeat after me.
言ってください。言ってください。言ってください。
言ってください。言ってください。言ってください。
So, when you're in a classroom, hopefully you'll be doing a lot of speaking.
The teacher will probably make you say or repeat many words and phrases, right?
Right. So first, we'll introduce the phrase, please say it or please repeat after me.
For this one, we say 言ってください. It literally means please say it.
So a teacher might point to a word on the board and say something like,
言ってください.
Can you say it again?
言ってください.
Break it down.
言ってください. 言ってください.
Please say it.
If the teacher wants you to repeat the phrase though, they might say リピートしてください.
Naomi-sensei? Repeat. Repeat?
Right. It's borrowed from English.
I can tell that.
Let's listen to the next phrase.
Please look.
見てください。見てください。見てください。
見てください。見てください。見てください。
Now, it sounds a lot like the phrase we just went over.
Right. 言ってください. Please say it. And 見てください. Please look. Sounds really similar.
So, make sure to note the difference. Can we hear the phrase, please look one more time?
見てください.
Break it down.
見てください。見てください.
Literally, look please. Now, you can also put a noun in front of this phrase to indicate what you want the person to look at. For example,
ホワイトボード。見てください.
please look at the whiteboard.
ホワイトボード is whiteboard.
Now, the next phrase is another request.
Please read.
読んでください。読んでください。読んでください。
読んでください。よ、ん、で、く、だ、さ、い。読んでください。
If the teacher wants you to practice reading some word, a phrase, or a passage, you can expect to hear this. Please read.
So, can you guess the meaning? テキスト。読んでください.
Tekisto. That's a textbook, right?
Right.
So please read your textbook.
Right. テキスト。読んでください.
So, Naomi-sensei, what if the teacher wants you to write something? What will they say?
That would be our next phrase.
Please write.
書いてください。書いてください。書いてください。
書いてください。か、い、て、く、だ、さ、い。書いてください。
You may have noticed all the expressions up until now have
ください
at the end. Remember that in a class setting, when you hear this at the end, the speaker is asking you to do something.
Right. Your teacher is asking you to do something.
Very politely. The last phrase we'll look at is
A question.
Do you understand?
わかりますか？わかりますか？わかりますか？
わかりますか？わ、か、り、ま、す、か。わかりますか？
Now, teachers want to make sure that their students are keeping up with everything. So they'll often ask if everyone understands, right?
Right. わかりますか？
Do you understand?
わかります is a verb. To understand. か indicates a question. It's like a question mark.
So literally, understand question? Or understand? Of course it means, do you understand?
You might also hear 大丈夫ですか?
This literally means, is it okay? Or is everything okay?
This one is used pretty often as well.
In other situations, it would probably be translated as, are you okay? But in the classroom, it can be used to confirm whether or not someone understands something, right?
Right.
Can we hear the phrase again?
大丈夫ですか?
Is everything okay? So let's recap what we learned in this lesson. Again, if you're studying in a classroom, these phrases are absolutely critical. You'll hear them again and again. Let's hear them one more time. Naomi-sensei, onegaishimasu.
Sure. 言ってください.
Please say it. Please repeat it.
見てください.
Please look.
読んでください.
Please read.
書いてください.
Please write.
わかりますか?
Do you understand?
So everyone, わかりますか?
There you have it. All 5 phrases for the classroom. And we'll see you next time.
Don't forget to visit JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. It only takes 10 seconds, so go to JapanesePod101.com and claim your free lifetime account now.
ジャパニーズポッド101でございます。
おはよう東京。こんばんはニューヨーク。こんにちはロンドン。
Welcome to the All About Japanese series at JapanesePod101.com, where you'll learn all about Japanese in Japan, such as the writing system, grammar and pronunciation, as well as Japanese traditions, culture, and society in a fun and educational format. To get more free Japanese lessons, go to JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. Signing up takes less than 10 seconds, and you'll find more great lessons just like this one.
All About Japanese Lesson 13. Learn Japanese phrases your teacher will never teach you. Hi, everyone.
Welcome back to JapanesePod101.com.
Okay, I'm telling you right now, this lesson is really fun.
Because we'll go over some phrases that your teacher might not teach you.
Now, we don't want you to get the wrong idea. You're not going to find any swear words or really bad words or anything like that here.
Just some Japanese phrases that are just a little too slangy to be introduced in the regular lesson.
Now, these are words, though, that you'll encounter a lot in Japanese.
A lot. In Japan, you'd probably hear them every day.
They're really that common.
So if you're ready to learn some fun Japanese, let's get started.
The first phrase we'll go over is
Great. Awesome.
すごい。すごい。すごい。
すごい。すごい。すごい。
すごい。
Now, this means awesome great. But I think one of the best translations is just wow.
すごい.
You'll hear this word all the time.
Right. When people hear or see something interesting or unusual, usually the first reaction would be すごい.
Like, oh, hey, Naomi-sensei, I just won the lotto.
すごい. Just like that.
That's all I get for winning the lotto? Naomi-sensei, come on. It would be a nice long one, like a nice prolonged すごい.
You're right. Some people prolong the second syllable, ご, like すごい.
And sometimes people even use it if there's nothing really amazing about what they just heard.
It just become a habit to say it.
So you can usually tell by their tone of voice. Naomi-sensei, I won the lottery.
Ah, すごい.
So if they don't sound impressed, they probably aren't.
Right.
Okay, next we have
Stupid, idiot, or fool.
バカ、バカ、バカ。
バカ、バカ、バカ。
Now, be very careful who you say this to.
Right.
In fact, it might be better to not use it at all, but it's a good one to know anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the situation and how it's used, this word can come off as a strong insult or a playful joke.
That's right. It all depends on how the person uses it.
If you're really angry and you call someone,
バカ.
that's pretty harsh. Now, if you're just joking around with your friends and you use it, it comes off as playful. Now, if you watch anime, this is something you'll come across again and again.
I agree.
Okay, next we have
Lie.
嘘、う、そ、嘘。
嘘、う、そ、嘘。
嘘.
literally means lie, as in to tell a lie. But when used as an exclamation like,
嘘.
it's pretty close to saying something like, no way, or you're kidding.
Right. Basically, it's used when you're really surprised or shocked by something.
Like you just can't believe it.
Right. But in most cases, you don't actually think that what the person is saying is a lie.
So if someone responds to something you say with, so, don't worry, they're not actually calling you a liar or anything like that. Okay, now on to some slang used by young people. Just note that all of these phrases are very, very informal. So you want to be a little careful when using them. Although these phrases may fade out after some time, because what young people are saying always is changing. But for now, they should be good. So just be a little careful.
The first one is 超.
This is a prefix you can attach to an adjective when you really want to emphasize it.
Like 超バカ. As we learned, バカ means stupid. So 超バカ means something like really stupid or so foolish.
Complete idiot. Or it could get strong, again, depending on if you're using it playfully or in a context where it could be interpreted wrong. So it's kind of used like English so, kind of like so stupid.
Or super stupid.
Yes. So that's what this prefix 超 does. Long vowel 超.
Another slangy word is やばい.
Now, the literal meaning of
やばい.
is risky or chancy, but I think it's strayed a bit away from its original meaning. やばい is interesting because it can be both good and bad.
That's true. It all depends on the context. So, for example, if you say that movie was やばい, it could mean that it was やばい in a good way, like it was really cool or something. Or it could be やばい in a bad way. Maybe the acting was bad or something.
It's hard to know unless the person expands on it more.
やばい is also used as an exclamation.
Kind of like, oh no, or oh shoot.
Right. やばい. If you've just realized something bad.
やばい. I overslept, or something like that.
Yeah, that's a 超やばい situation, isn't it?
Okay, next is
マジ.
Maji is like 超 in that it comes before words to emphasize them.
you could combine it with the word we just learned and create マジやばい, for example.
Yeah, that's right. Whether it's good or bad, we don't know, but it's pretty whatever way it is.
Right. But マジ is also used like マジ, which is a slangy way to say really?
It's based off the word majime, which is serious.
Right.
So it's kind of like, seriously?
そうですね, right. Are you serious?
Interesting lesson. Okay, now we're going to go over some words that are called
相づち
aizuchi, are words that you say in response to someone who is talking to show that you are listening and understand what the person is saying. Aizuchi in Japanese are interesting because they're used really frequently. We have some equivalents in English such as uh-huh, mm-hmm, and okay, but we don't use them nearly as much.
Some people might use them after almost every sentence.
Saying nothing and just listening could be considered strange. So what are some common aizuchi?
If you agree with the person, you can say そうそ
Or even so.
That's right. A lot of people use it over and over.
I remember it sounded funny at first hearing all of these so's in a row, but I'm kind of used to hearing it.
You could also use うん as in mm. This is used more to show that you're just listening.
It's kind of a metric of how long you've been in Japan. If you're listening to someone speak and you start going, you've probably been here between 1 and 2 years. You start to subconsciously or unconsciously add in aizuchi. Now, if you're impressed by what someone says, you can say,
へー
you can use
へー
to show you're impressed or that you didn't know something.
It's used together a lot with すごい. So you can get へーすごい.
You definitely hear that one a lot. There was even a popular quiz show that introduced interesting facts, and the panelists rated them on how interesting they were by pressing a hey button.
I remember that show.
If you thought it was interesting, you would give it a lot of.
Heads.
So overall, what we introduced today are frequently used slang, but not appropriate for the classroom and not appropriate for every situation. So be aware of them, but be cautious when using them because using them in the wrong situation could create a couple of issues.
Right.
At this stage, absorb and recognize and acknowledge that you know what's going on.
See you.
Don't forget to visit JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. It only takes 10 seconds, so go to JapanesePod101.com and claim your free lifetime account now.
ジャパニーズポッド101でございます。おはよう東京。こんにちはニューヨーク。こんばんはロンドン。
Welcome to the All About Japanese series at JapanesePod101.com, where you'll learn all about Japanese in Japan, such as the writing system, grammar and pronunciation, as well as Japanese traditions, culture, and society in a fun and educational format. To get more free Japanese lessons, go to JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. Signing up takes less than 10 seconds, and you'll find more great lessons just like this one.
All About Japanese, Lesson 14. Top 5 mistakes you should never make when using Japanese. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the All About Japanese series.
Hello. こんにちは.
You're in for a useful lesson, because we're here to give you some tips on how to avoid common mistakes by learners of Japanese. Now remember, there's nothing wrong with making mistakes.
It's how you learn.
In this lesson, we'll give you a heads up so that you can be aware, and it'll make your Japanese language learning experience a lot easier.
Let's get started.
Tip number 1. Don't attach san, the suffix san, to your own name.
Remember that san is a polite suffix that you attach to people's name to show respect.
But unlike the English Mr. or Ms., you can attach san not only to the first name, but also to the family name. For example, my name is Peter Galante. I can be called
Galante-san,
Mr. Galante, my family name plus san, or
Peter-san.
my first name plus san. The problem, though, is that this is a title of respect. So you can't refer to yourself. When teachers teach Japanese, they refer to their students as so-and-so-san. For example, John becomes,
ジョンさん、
Sarah becomes,
セイラさん。
and so on. And I think what happens is that the student gets used to hearing their names the way the teacher is saying it, so they start referring to themselves that way.
So just remember to refer to yourself using only your name. For example, 私はジョンです。
I'm John. 私はピーターです。I'm Peter.
私はナオミです。I'm Naomi. Don't put son to your own name.
Never put san on your own name. Tip number 2. Watch your politeness level.
So you've already learned that Japanese has different politeness levels.
Which one you use depends on the age and status of the speaker and listener and the relationship between them.
One thing that's really important to remember is to speak politely to people who are older than you or have higher social status than you.
As well as people who you don't know. An exception is if you're talking to children.
Oh, right.
With everyone else you don't know, you should speak formally.
In general, people who study Japanese are taught formal language first. But those who learn mostly from friends or peers might only pick up informal language.
Right. So you just have to be careful about making that switch between levels when it's appropriate. I would say when in doubt, speak formally.
I agree.
Better to err on the side of caution. If other people don't think it's necessary, they'll probably let you know. So it's no problem.
That's good advice.
Tip number 3. Watch your gender.
So in Japanese, men and women use different language.
Yes, this is a really interesting aspect of Japanese. Sentence endings, word choice, and intonation all differ between men and women.
So it's important to be aware of and be able to recognize the difference.
Now, I think this is something that male non-native speakers have to be especially careful of. A majority of Japanese teachers are female. And if a male student is learning from a Japanese female friend or partner, he runs a risk of sounding feminine if he starts to copy the speech patterns that he hears.
Sometimes that helps is listening to a lot of different styles in Japanese.
That's right. Listen to Japanese spoken by all kinds of speakers, and eventually you'll start to pick up on the differences between male and female speech.
Right. How about you, Peter?
I think this is one of the best tips we've covered so far. Like we discussed, my teacher was female. It was easier for me to catch what Japanese female speakers were saying. The guys sounded mumbled, they spoke lower. It was harder to catch what they were saying.
Right. Women speak clearly.
And above all, it was kind of difficult to make guy friends at first. So I think that combination results in a lot of guys speaking feminine. And the thing is, it's not such an obvious thing. It's very subtle. The speech difference, what Japanese women and men say, fundamentally it's the same, but it's the intonation
Right.
and the endings and things like this that gives it a feminine feel.
Okay, so what's the next tip we have?
Tip number 4. Learn your long vowels now. Japanese has both short and long vowels. For example, the a vowel can be either short, 1 syllable,
A.
or it can be long, 2 syllables.
Ah.
And these are 2 distinctly different sounds. Whether a vowel is long or short can affect the meaning of the word. To use our a example,
The word for corner is kado,
that's the short vowel.
and the word for card is kado.
That's the long vowel. So the vowel is exactly the same, but the length of it changes the meaning of the word. How about another example?
来てください
Is a phrase that means please come. So kite has a short e vowel.
and 聞いてください means please listen.
So the e vowel becomes a long vowel, and it now becomes please listen. Can we hear just the first word of each?
Sure. 来て
Come.
and 聞いて
Listen. Can you hear the difference? It's an important one. Japanese has tons of pairs like these.
Right. When learning new Japanese vocab, pay attention to the long vowels.
Sometimes in romaji or romaji, they'll be marked with a macron. And what a macron is a little line over the vowel. This tells you that the vowel is a long one. In other books, there are two vowels will appear back to back. And that's how you can find the long vowel.
Okay, Peter. What is the last tip we have for everyone?
Tip number 5. Watch out for similar sounding words. Now, this could happen in any language, but Japanese has a relatively small number of sounds, meaning that there are tons of words that sound really similar. The difference being only one syllable or something like that. When you're starting out and you still have a small vocabulary, it becomes even easier to mix up words.
Right.
What are some of the infamous examples?
One example is きれい versus 嫌い.
They sound really similar, but what do they mean?
きれい with an e meaning pretty or beautiful, whereas 嫌い with an a sound means hate it. It means you hate whatever you're talking about.
Yeah, you have to be careful with this one. You wouldn't want to try and tell someone they're beautiful and end up saying you hate them. How about another example?
かわいい versus 怖い.
Meanings are?
かわいい means cute and 怖い means scary.
So be careful when commenting on someone's pet or kid. I've heard of this happening before and I've been misunderstood.
Really?
Yeah. So someone tries to say that another person's baby is kawaii, but it comes out kowai.
No.
All right, well, there you have it. The top 5 tips for avoiding common mistakes in Japanese.
Don't attach san to your own name.
Watch your politeness level. When in doubt, speak formally.
What's your gender?
Learn long vowels and watch out for similar words. Please keep these in mind and your Japanese learning experience will be made a whole lot better.
You'll be on the right track.
See you next time.
Don't forget to visit JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. It only takes 10 seconds, so go to JapanesePod101.com and claim your free lifetime account now.
ジャパニーズポッド101よ。
おはよう東京。こんばんはニューヨーク。こんにちはロンドン。
Welcome to the All About Japanese series at JapanesePod101.com, where you'll learn all about Japanese in Japan, such as the writing system, grammar and pronunciation, as well as Japanese traditions, culture, and society in a fun and educational format. To get more free Japanese lessons, go to JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. Signing up takes less than 10 seconds, and you'll find more great lessons just like this one.
All About Japanese Lesson 15. The best of the best Japanese phrases. Learn your Japanese teacher's favorite phrases. Hi everyone and welcome back to the All About Japanese lesson series. In today's lesson, we'll go over our top 5 favorite phrases.
Yes, these are phrases that we chose. We chose phrases that we find useful or interesting and that are used a lot in Japanese.
So, Natsuko-san, what's our first phrase?
そういえば.
One more time.
そういえば.
This phrase means, speaking of which, or, now that you mention it. Natsuko-san, when can we use this phrase?
Well, if someone is talking about something that reminds you of something related, you can bring up that topic with そういえば.
Break it down.
そういえば. そういえば.
It's kind of like, that reminds me. Or, speaking of, let's give an example of how we can use this phrase. Let's say I went to a party recently. Natsuko-san, ask me about the party I went to.
Okay. ピーターさん、パーティーはどうでしたか? Peter, how was the party you went to?
Oh, it was great. Ah, そういえば, we're having another party tomorrow. Do you want to come?
Sure.
So, Natsuko-san asking me about the first party reminded me of another party. So I can switch to that topic using そういえば or, oh, that reminds me.
That's right. So this is a useful phrase to use when you want to bring up a new topic that you were reminded of.
Okay, what's our next phrase?
とりあえず.
toriaizu, is a word that means in the meantime or for now. You can use this word to talk about some action or decision you make because it's better than doing nothing.
Right. Like when you can't decide what to do and you just make a quick decision, something to do in the meantime. とりあえず
Break it down.
とりあえず とりあえず
You might hear it at restaurants a lot.
Mm-hmm.
For example, when you don't know what to order, but you know you want a drink to start, you can say,
とりあえずビール
which is like, I'll have a beer for now.
Yes, I use a lot of this. If you're in a situation where a decision needs to be made.
If you go out with your Japanese friends and you use とりあえずビール, I'll have a beer for now, it's very Japanese.
Yes, it's like a set phrase.
You'll get quite a few laughs.
Mm-hmm.
What's the next phrase?
了解です
Meaning understood or got it. Break it down.
了解です了解です
And you can shorten it to just,
了解
which is nice.
Mm-hmm. In many situations, it's just like わかりました which also means understood.
了解です is used to show that you understand some information or set of instructions given to you.
It's used a lot among soldiers and officers, actually.
Right. And in that sense, it's equivalent to Roger, Roger that in English.
But it can even be used among friends, so it's a widely used phrase.
What's next?
適当に
Suitably and relevant.
適当に適当に
Tekito is an adjective that literally means suitable and relevant. When we add ni to it, it becomes an adverb. Now, when used as an adverb, the original meaning is properly, but recently has started to mean half-heartedly or without much care.
Basically, the opposite meaning, right?
Yeah, it's weird how languages change like that. But you'll hear it used in the meaning of half-heartedly or without much care a lot. It's really common.
Yes, but the phrase still has the original meaning too.
Right.
And for example, if you didn't like to study in middle school and didn't study very hard, you could say 適当に勉強しました.
I studied half-heartedly.
Right.
But to try to translate it to give it the nuance, it's kind of like I did what I had to get by.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Like, you adjusted to the environment.
But just enough to get
Yes.
what you needed to do.
You didn't do anything extra. It's also used in a slightly different way.
Yes. Like if you tell someone to do something, 適当に, what you're really saying is that you'll leave it to them to do it how they want.
Oh, yes.
For example, if you're at a restaurant with a friend and you don't care much about what's ordered and you want your friend to do it, you could say,
適当に注文して
注文して means please order in informal Japanese. So you're telling your friend to order 適当に. I'll leave it to you to order or just order whatever, which is kind of a really good translation.
Yes.
Just get whatever. Okay, on to our last phrase.
確かに
That's true. Indeed. That's for sure.
確かに確かに
This means that's true, indeed, or that's for sure in English. In All About Japanese Lesson 13, we mentioned aizuchi, which are interjections that are used in response to someone who's speaking. 確かに is used as aizuchi a lot.
Yes. It means that you agree with the point that the person just made.
Yeah, even if you don't agree with them on other things.
Good point.
So if you think that someone has a good point, even if you don't really want to admit it, you can acknowledge it with
確かに Yes, it's often used in that way.
So there you have it. 5 phrases that we find really useful that we have now passed on to you.
Try using some of them the next time you have a conversation in Japanese.
And the best thing about these phrases are they're very Japanese.
Yes, they're real Japanese.
And if you use them correctly, you're going to turn some heads and wow some people.
I bet so.
I think the easiest one to use is the とりあえずビール.
Yes, I recommend that. Okay, see you next time.
Don't forget to visit JapanesePod101.com and sign up for your free lifetime account. It only takes 10 seconds, so go to JapanesePod101.com and claim your free lifetime account now.